map plan screen.
On the lobby screen, hello everybody, and welcome to the seeding round 2 of the CS23 Invitationals. So this one's going to be between Equilibrium and KDCM 17, the Q Dodgers. This is the first match of the second round of the seeding tournament. Last week, Equilibrium swept the Dark Sea Corsairs 5-0, putting them in first place coming into this match against the Q Dodgers, who, having successfully dodged the Q in the knockout round, took a match off of Aens last week, placing them in third and relegating Aens to a very close second. Will the KDCM be able to take some matches off of Equilibrium this time? Or will this be another sweep? I don't know. We'll find out. With me is Therix, also casting over on MWO Leagues too. Check it out. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, Therax, he's back. He took a week off, and now he's back for some casting.
Excellent. Good to have you back. I'm just trying to figure out who I am inviting from KDCM here, and we'll get to that. But yeah, last week some excitement. EQ with the sweep, putting them in a first place. And like I said, KDCM managing to snag a win off of Aens, which knocks them down to an unexpected second place. I expected we'd have sort of a tie setup going here, but we do not. We have some diversity, which is always fun.
Yeah, you know, EQ is probably the favored team out of the current teams that have managed to bypass the Q. A couple of teams from the Q that either declined the Invitational or for other reasons are not in the Invitational series here currently might be a challenger for Equilibrium, and Aens should also be a contender against Equilibrium. But I think Equilibrium, out of the 4 teams in the seeding stage here, I would be anticipating that they're going to come out of top. KDCM has shown that they can pull up the unexpected upsets, though, so I wouldn't rule that out here today.
Yeah, I would agree. Aens Equilibrium, it's close. Like Aens, when they're on their game, are on their damn game, and Equilibrium a little more consistent. And up there.
And the thing, you know, even if KDCM, they only managed to take a game off Equilibrium here, you know, get that tied scenario moving to the last week. So there's a fair bit at stake here for Equilibrium. They will want to be as close to perfect as possible. Yes. Yeah, KDCM's got that surprise factor. You know, some teams have trouble dealing with certain play styles that KDCM is well known for, even at the higher levels. And they don't have to play those styles, so I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we have a good couple matches here.
We'll see how it goes. I see Giggity is online at the moment looking for Jay, so we can go ahead and get the map ban started here in about 2 minutes. Let's see here. Let me ping them here. All right, yeah, so let's see. With this one, we're gonna start with our map ban. Again, just talking over what some of these teams are probably gonna prefer. EQ with a very nice receive strat on Vitric, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see that again. You know, with that strong receive, expecting a KDCM push, that would be a very strong map for them. Also EQ with some interesting wall play on Hibernal, things to look out for. Again, probably going to be expecting to receive that KDCM push. I think we're going to see shorter maps play out before the long range maps like we did last week, just as a matter of preference.
I guess one thing to mention here at the start is that with the current situation with the binary lasers, where there's a bug in the game, they're banned for the Invitational tournament. So we aren't going to see binaries here today, but we could still see the Hyper Assault Gauss or potentially the X-Pulse lasers. I know that there was a little bit of that going on last week in the matches that you were casting. And, you know, X-Pulse lasers a little bit less expected. But I'm excited to see how people are using the Hyper Assault Gauss, what kind of builds they're running it on, and whether or not that has a little bit of a change to the meta from previous years.
Yeah, and I think we have seen that. The Hyper Assault Gauss definitely having a spot. Probably saw it almost every match here.
Okay.
All right, so it looks like Jay is still trying to connect. Should be here any second now. We'll get that started. But yeah, going back, Hyper Assault Gauss definitely has its place in the tournament and in the current meta. It's a very strong system, especially at that mid range. Really just a delightful weapon. So the X Pulse, just so much face time needed, especially against groups like this. They're gonna take half your face as soon as you poke with those X lasers. So we'll see. I saw it a couple on some of the lights. I don't know how they find them. I think I hate to say disappointing, but it is one of the more disappointing releases on these. I expected a little more punch from them, I think, is probably what they need. A little more punch. I think the heat's fine, but it just doesn't make that staring trade-off worth it, I think.
Yeah, there's going to be some adjustments in the upcoming patch. We're anticipating patch on Tuesday, although I don't think the patch notes are out yet. Is it this Tuesday or is it the last Tuesday? Well, I'll let better minds figure that one out.
Yeah.
So there will be some adjustments to be made on some of these weapon systems, and then we'll see them played out with their revised stats potentially next weekend, depending if the patch hits on Tuesday or not. And then we'll have 1 week of that before the queue closes, and we all get to move on to the top 12 knockout stage.
All right. And speaking of knocking things out, we're going to go ahead and, well, I guess this isn't technically a ban. It is a map select. So we're going to go ahead and get that started.
Yeah,
both teams in. So if you are new to what's happening here, the team 2 gets first choice, or I'm sorry, I've forgotten which team starts. Well, we'll find out here in a second. One of the teams, there we go. EQ, team 1 gets first choice of map. And then team 2 gets second choice of map, and that'll go back and forth until we have all of them selected.
Yeah, we're playing all 5 maps today. It's not a best of 5. So for those of you who are looking for strategies for your quick play team, this is a good opportunity to figure out what the pros are playing.
Yeah, and those of you in queue, well, potentially right now. You could be watching this between matches, but yeah, no, steal these builds as you see us go through. Steal these strats; they're going to be highly effective. Watch for these push strats if you are a pushing team. Watch for these strats from KDCM; they're very good at it.
Okay, all 5 maps have been selected, so we're looking at team sides now. So we're starting off with Vitric, then we're moving on to Polar Highlands. Is that?
Yes, Vitric, Polar Highlands, Mining Collective, Hibernal. So EQ is team 2 to start.
Polar Highlands is a second map. I mean, you are playing all 5, but that'll be interesting to see. There's some different strategies that can be used on that map that some teams just don't want to have to play against.
Yep, very pushable map, honestly. It'll be good to see.
Yeah, you can also run a cap strat on there if you're the type of team that prefers to avoid fighting.
Yeah, the caps are going to provide.
Strategy.
Oh yeah, caps are going to provide. What EQ is team 2 for Hibernal. And all right, they're making us swap it up. Okay. All right, where are we here? EQ needs to be team 1. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these guys in. If you want to chat, we're gonna open up with Vitric Station. So I don't know if you want to start to talk about that a little bit.
Map strat up on that, and then we'll start sketching. So Vitric Station, relatively straightforward for most teams the way they play it. They want to just kind of take and control that top. either playing a push or a receive, could be either. There's some other options as well on this map, but the top is such a powerful position that teams are going to take it. The debate on the top is whether or not teams are going to push up the ramp and either go across or trade from the ramp, or if they're going to sit back, more of a receive type strategy, like what I'm drawing here for the red team. If you kind of sit on those back boxes, there's also side positions that can be taken, and teams don't have to push, but pushes are relatively popular on this map. One thing I'm going to note is that the theta cap is actually on the low ground, so you sometimes see lights and mediums skirmishing at the bottom while the bigs are up on the top ramps. But sometimes the theta cap, it kind of maybe gets ignored a little bit because this map generally doesn't go down to caps. Usually you just see a little bit more aggression, more fighting. Either the push works or the receive works, or even if it does sail out made out to more of a both teams are playing receive, they're trading at range. The home caps are so easily defendable that in a 3-2 cap situation, there's no pressure really in terms of the caps, generally speaking, in my opinion. Now these teams could play it out differently, and I've listed like 3 different ways of it playing. I think that the push strategy is the most likely to occur here. I think KDCM is going to play the push part, and we're going to see a receive from Equilibrium.
Yeah, and something we saw last week, and I hope they learn from what happened the last time. The push over top is generally the strat, unless somebody accidentally drops. What happened last week? What color haven't we used? I'm going to use like the pink here to show you what they did last time. They came over the top, and then they started chasing some lights that may have looked like they were a little bit isolated down around this left side, which put them in the low ground. And then Aens just had some fun up top. So
if you drop your team onto the low ground, most of your mechs can't climb back up. There are ramps, but it takes too long, and it's a hard choke point. So what happened when what I watched was the one team that sat up top, and they just farmed damage from the upper positions. If you drop to chase something, you have to get those kills fast, and you have to pull the fight into an area where the opposing team can't see you. And they did not succeed with that in that particular situation. It's a tough situation as a drop caller on this map to try and sometimes you see something isolated, but it's in the low ground. Do you go for it, or do you let the opportunity go by? Because the dropping low ground is just so risky. Now, I'm going to mention there are mechs that can jump back up. I've seen KDCM use them. The Viper in particular can jump jet from the low ground up onto these ramps. Same with the Mistlings, can also make that jump. And there are other mechs where you typically don't have a lot of jump jets, Interspheres mechs like the Assassin, but you can load them out with enough jump jets to jump from the low ground or right up onto the ramp. And sometimes you can create havoc by having a couple of mechs jump up behind the opposing receive line while the push is occurring over the ramps.
Yeah, and that is a solid strategy there. Unfortunately, what happened is they sent their bigs to the low ground last week. So if you can keep your bigs up top, keep that pressure on your lights, certainly can flank from that low ground, even popping up from the middle, from the theta point. Those jump jet mechs can be absolutely invaluable here. Give it a minute. Morning.
Yeah, how are the teams coming along with their locks here? I mean,
they're doing all right. Team one, okay. KDCM's doing all right. Looks like they are waiting on one person. PG, I forgot about patch notes. I might publish them myself, says MPG. We'll see how that goes. Looks like KDCM's trying to get their last pilot on here. Okay. That could be.
I'm seeing a fairly stacked lobby here from Equilibrium.
Yeah.
All 12 people in the lobby there. Very imposing.
Always a nice sort of show of force to see a full team, and I do like that.
It also lets you know that everyone's schedule is cleared to play today, so they will be fielding likely their strongest roster. They're not missing anyone.
We'll give them a 30-second warning as well.
Well, let's run over the format here.
Yes, thank you. Well,
so
I
it's
guide these guys through.
480 ton. Yeah, 480 ton limit. Teams can not go over 480 tons. They can run under it. And it's 8v8. We're playing 5-cap Conquest. Vitric Forge being the first map. The cap limit is up to 750 caps for the win, but typically it'll go to kills most of the time, not all the time. There's also a restriction in place. Weight class, you can only have up to 3 of a weight class. You cannot run 4 light mechs or 4 heavy mechs, for instance. You can only have up to 3 of the weight class. And then there's also a chassis limit where you cannot have any duplicate mechs. So you can have 1 Mistlinks, you cannot have 2 Mistlinks. Even if they are different variants of the Mistlinks, you can only have the 1. And on top of that, there's also restrictions. All of the mechs have to be purchasable in the store. So that prevents legendaries from being able to be used. And also the Stone Rhino, which was recently released back in July, I believe it was, is still not available for C-Bills or MC in the in-game store. So that mech is not allowed either. Just in case you're wondering where your favorite legendaries are and why they are not being used, well, they are not currently legal. So at present, there's no restrictions on hero mechs that are available in the in-game store. So we'll see some hero mechs being used here, but lots of C-Bill variants as well. And
don't worry about that. We'll sort things out here in a minute.
Okay.
So let's see here. What else can we talk about? We've kind of talked about Vitric as these teams are continuing to lock. Let's see. What else could we talk? Let's see. We've talked about sort of the push. Actually, Therex, can you talk about the receive, like some receive options here and receiving strats, especially for some of our newer viewers, if they tend to not be on there.
I'll put my tactical genius to work here. So let's draw up some receive strats over on the red team side here. What we've got is you want to take upper terrain. Let's put red on this as the color. Nice big red circles. So you want to be on the upper terrain. You don't want your mechs too close together, but because of the way this map works, there aren't a lot of ability to spread while staying high ground on these ramps. So if you just come up the ramps as the typical opening, you spawn near them, walk up there. Meanwhile, your lights are out getting you some information, scouting information. Probably let's draw them in pink. Go to a cap, then go get some scouting intel or what have you. I like the Pop-Tart light for a scout here, but you can also just peek up the ramps with those lights to scout. And then your bigs need to start like pre-setting. If you're going to do a receive, you need to be setting those big mechs up even before you get the scouting intel. Just your initial movement needs to be heading toward receive locations, because you don't have time to adjust if you're getting hit in the face with 100 plus kph mechs in a giant wave. Your 50 kph direwolves or whatever need to get into positions before the push is scouted. They still need to get that scouting intel. You sometimes have a position 1 and a position 2 type situation where you move to the initial, and then based off of what you see, you either adjust for trading or adjust for receiving. But what you want to have, the big mechs at the back of the ramps here with some mid to long range. They probably need to be long range in case you're doing trading across, but you can also play like an AC5 DACA type. You need DPS, and ideally you're focusing off some legs. Now, I like the buffer mechs up near the ramp as well, up top still, but playing toward the ramps. They can either Pop-Tart over, maybe with Stumnose PPCs or something of that nature, or they can, the Crusader's excellent for this with the red lasers, and you can get in there with a body that can take and absorb some damage, but also put out a fair bit. Acts as more or less just as a speed bump for any incoming push that's coming over the ramp. So when the blue team, pushes over the ramp, for instance here, they run into a speed bump that delays them up in the area where the longer range, heavier mechs are able to shoot. It doesn't help the speed bump on the other side of the ramp, obviously. You need to be doing it where your big mechs are able to shoot into. And it's all about making sure that your mechs are spread, so the push has to go from one mech, they get a kill there, then they have to make a push back into weapons range onto another mech. It's a little bit tricky on Vitric Forge, easier to do on some other maps where you don't have this high ground, low ground issue. But you need to maintain that spacing so you can get either some kills or some legs off before they make it to their second and third target. Now, one issue that can happen here is if you're spreading your mechs on the opposite sides of, let's call it a citadel. I'm not really sure what the correct terminology would be here. You need to make sure that your mechs are able to be able to shoot. If the push comes through and they're able to push around and isolate your range element behind this, let's draw this box in brown, behind this structure here, you can cut off sight lines from that push, so that the one range mech isn't able to participate. So those range mechs need to be aware that if that situation starts to occur, they need to start advancing, push in. It does make them close range, but they need to be helping their buddies out and try to return that damage before their allies go down.
Yep. All right.
I think the key is kind of that speed bump.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And like we saw last week, so I was chatting a bit with these guys, so I didn't quite hear everything, but if you can, like you saw on mining last week with KDCM, if you can get your wolf pack engaged, and then send your folks over where your bigs are not getting that super focus fire, which EQ is so good at, that focus fire on like a CT, that could really just change that push. Let's see if KDCM does this. Actually, and speaking of that, both teams are locked. So we're going to go ahead and launch that momentarily.
Okay. What is the tonnage lockup here?
We're at 480 each.
Okay. So they're using their full maximum tonnage here.
Yes. All right. We'll swap over to the match view. All right. Let's see here. Getting everything going. All right, here we go. Taking a look at that lovely. Let's see if I can get some camera work going on here. A little bit of sunrise as the star rises on Vitric Station. As we wait for the players to load in.
Yeah, it should be coming in shortly here.
But honestly, great work on this map done by Krasdax. I always say like to comment on some of the maps while we're waiting. Never mind, here we are. We're here. I'm on the EQ side. Looks like we've got, let's see, what do we got here? A Mad Cat, a Mislinks, a Shadow Cat. Let's see what we're running on these. A Highlander with Hag 60. All right, Hag 60 and SRMs. There's our Shadow Cat with a whole bunch of stuff with a Hag. I think we're seeing a lot of Hags here. Let's take a look at the Viper, see what we're running here. Machine guns on that one. And we've got a Arctic Wolf Prime with the SRM-6. All right, what are we looking at on the side here?
KDCM, we've got a mix of range and brawl. They do have ER large on their Marauder 2C. They have an Executioner, which has a mix of ERPPC and red lasers. Definitely able to brawl with that. But they have a lot of SRMs with the Dervish, the Summoner, and the Hellspawn are all running SRM. So this is definitely going to be a brawl push here.
Yep.
Crusaders got light PPCs with red lasers, so a little bit of range, but this is definitely, they're coming up to the ramp, and I expect that they are not going to hesitate all that long before they just go over.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of Hags on the EQ side. That's a lot of damage to put out, but it's also a lot of cooldown time. I think, honestly, this deck favors KDCM right now. It's going to be on the movement and on EQ to maintain that distance. And here we see the same thing they did last time, stacking up on one side, ready to receive that push. And KDCM dropping this time to their advantage. Wolfpack starting to engage.
Jump jets to get up.
Yep, and that is a way to get in here. We've got the light fight happening in here with the Marauder down below. Jorvingundr out of the fight. Jay dropping to the fire. FDLR also going down to some combined Hag fire. I'm sure that's going to be, well, the legs. I had him highlighted the whole time. Nyan going down.
Both teams are trying to wipe out the opponent's assaults.
Yep.
Looks like it's going a little bit better for Equilibrium.
Yeah, EQ, their light pack just dominating the center of the map and now returning to finish off the jump. So it was a good push on the part of KDCM, but you see that focus fire by EQ just is going to take him down. Looking at Nyan,
almost leg.
posted all
Dervish
over the
is
place.
legged.
Yep.
So the last one is that Marauder 2C, which has dropped, but now is facing an insurmountable task. It's pretty fresh. I don't know what happened there, but
Looks like he fell down onto Theta there, while the light pack skirmished up front.
Yeah.
So it was just, they were fighting a man down. That's where we said you don't want to drop. If your guy does drop, you have to, everybody drop with him. But with EQ just sitting up top there, that was probably a fatal mistake.
Two legged mechs here for Equilibrium survivors, and some heat damage as well. Mistlinks is an open leg. Arctic Cheetah is relatively healthy though. Sorry, Arctic Wolf with SRM6 is my mistake. Interesting build. That would be a jump jet variant, the Arctic Wolf Prime, a little bit slower, but has jump jets instead of. Actually, it could have 6 jump jets. Probably able to jump up with that.
Yeah, it's also a little undergunned there in the SRM side. But yeah, let me get some stats up and you can take a look at damages in the meantime.
I like that push from KDCM, that low ground strategy, something I wasn't quite anticipating. Didn't work out though. Yeah,
they ended up getting pretty split on that. It was the unfortunate part about it, but their main push force was able to get in there relatively unscathed. So it's a valid pathing, but you can't get split. The Equilibrium Wolfpack doing their job and pulling not quite half, but almost. I think they had 3 mechs in the back there. So that split on the team, and the Wolfpack just devoured them, especially with 1 mech down below there. All right, I've got the scoreboard up so y'all can see some detailed stats while I get these folks ready on the next one. And we can do a debrief when you're ready.
Sure, I'm just going to run through the damage here. Top damage out of Equilibrium, we've got I've
been calling them Towards.
Sorry, they have an EQ tag, but they are a KDCM player. My mistake. Top damage there, 500 damage in that Dervish. For Equilibrium, the top damage was GRAM in that, was it Hag 20 machine gun ER Mead Shadowcat, I believe, with 400 damage there. Damage spread otherwise relatively low. Like, I guess it's the leg foes coming in here. Very few players have more than 200 or even, I think there's a few players with over 300, but with the focus fire being so dedicated on the legs, the fight went so quickly there. You have good focus fire, not very high damage totals. Team damage is a little bit concerning from a couple of players over on the Equilibrium side. But in the end, they do come up with a win. Nothing scary high with the team damage there, just a little bit higher than what you normally see, and that would be the Brawl coming in.
Yeah, probably just some of those machine guns swiping some folks, nothing major.
Yeah,
all right, I'm going to send us over to the
machine guns going on. Sorry, what's that?
I'm sorry. I'm going to send us over to the map room here so we can take a look at maybe what some of those pathings were. Sorry, I need to find my map screen here. I'm just going to clear this out. We'll use the red for KDCM. Red. There we go. So they kind of came around and their push went more or less something like that. It's a little bit of a sloppy line here. The real kicker was the fight that happened over on Theta involving the 3 mechs there with the wolf packet. It did hold them back. But
it was interesting. Both teams had their lights on the opponent's bigs, and ultimately, Equilibrium's bigs dealt with that a little bit better than KDCM's bigs did. Just maybe perhaps an unfortunate drop there from one of the KDCM mechs, but also it took a little bit longer than it maybe I was anticipating for the legs to come off of Equilibrium's bigs.
Yes, that was also another factor.
They had 5 mechs on them there, but it just took quite some time for the casualties to start chaining.
Yeah, and I wish I had seen a little bit. I'm wondering if EQ was finding a way to cycle some armor there and pull back in the midst of that push. That would have been an interesting thing to see. I don't think it's necessarily typical, but it would make a difference.
I don't think there was much armor rotation option there because they're getting jumped by the lighter stuff. But what they did have was 1 mech kind of pull back toward a side, another tucked into a little gap. There's those holes in the side of the
Yes.
structure. One of them pulled into there. They were doing some excellent leg shielding, and then one was backed into a corner here, also doing some leg shielding. And with those 90-degree corners, if you get that one leg in the back corner, it's very hard for mechs to see it without getting so close that they are blocking their allies from being able to shoot. There aren't very many angles in on that leg. So just tucking in a pair of mechs, and then the third one, which is kind of going to be the sacrificial, but it took a while to go down, able to kind of stand in a position where both of those mechs that were tucked in were able to shoot onto the mechs that were trying to take its legs off. So even though you're one mech around the corner, the other mech around the corner, they can't cover each other. The juicy target is covered by both of those mechs that have tucked in.
There it is. Okay, yeah, I was wondering what that edge was, because like you said, they did take forever and a day to go down, really, in the grand scheme of things. However, let's move on to Polar. I think, Vitric is Vitric. Polar, certainly one of the more interesting ones.
Sure.
Let's see. KDCM is on team 2 this time, so Sigma side. I would honestly anticipate a push to come around this way, if they decide to do so. Maybe around the corner.
Go ahead.
The
area that I see being the key on this map is that theta point. Yes, you can run a map strat on this by sticking around trying to pull caps on the edges, but that theta cap, that really is the keystone on this map. The distance of walking is so long on this map that if you can take control of theta, it gives you one guaranteed cap, and it gives you areas around it that are elevated that can kind of get that scouting intel, and also give you some receive positions if you're getting pushed, or allow you to try and deny opponent caps, if your opponents are going for that cap strat. Not that I'm anticipating a cap strat here today from these teams.
Yeah. Well, this is a map for the cap strat, and the caps, like you said, because it is so long, that I think we'll probably see more caps than you'd expect, than on a shorter map. It'll be interesting to see who takes the outer. So KDCM is going to want to keep all their mechs together because of the push. That being said, if EQ decides to throw on the pressure, I've drawn sort of the receive concave there, but what we could definitely see is and we did, I forget what team did it at one point, but they just walked around Kappa. They saw that there was no interest in team 2 taking the Kappa, and they just walked right around to Sigma, and I believe it led to just cap pressure, and I'm pretty sure it came down to caps. So if EQ decided to send one mech out there and try to receive with the rest, a very viable strategy. Also, when receiving, you want to extend that timeout. So if KDCM has to now pay attention to the strats, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, this map can very much go to caps just because of the sheer distances between the caps. Many a game has ended with in competitive with a mech just desperately trying to get to the next cap, and it's just too far. So that does affect the mechs that you bring. You want to bring mechs that are a little bit faster. I don't think you want to see any assaults that go under 64 kph. So we're talking Mad Cats and Blood Ass, not Direwolves and Stalkers. The other thing is that Equilibrium, they play a very excellent pressure skirmishing style, where they have their flank mechs kind of playing not on theta but around theta, getting angles, getting shots. I don't think they're going to be in a stationary receive line for the majority of their mechs. They like their Shadow Cats, and their Incubus, I think, is another mech that they're probably going to bring here, and just work the flanks with those mechs and not allow KDCM to just get a comfortable conga line push into a static receive position. We'll see how it plays out, but I think that Equilibrium is going to play a little bit more mobile than just a passive receive. They're not a passive team in general. Like current meta, top level competitive, the teams are very active in their movement.
All right, both teams are locked, and so we're gonna go ahead. Thank you for that. Gonna move us over to the match window, and we will launch.
Yeah, 480 tons, both teams again, using their full tonnage.
We do have, actually looking at the split, we got more of a split here for EQ. Had to remember who was team 1 here for a second. So Expect that to be a receive, and honestly, I would expect to see them go for those caps because I think they did have a couple in alpha. If they were just going to go for that receive line that I drew, it'd just be on Bravo there. All right, we're actually got us over to map.
Yeah, I'm still loading in over here. There we go.
Take a bird's eye view of that beautiful, beautiful polar highlands. Not so many Highlanders on polar highlands as I would like to see.
Yeah, Highlanders. I don't know. I've seen some Highlanders as of late, but usually they're a bit more brawly than the type of mechs that you want to use on this map, like slow brawls.
All right, coming down here, I'm with KDCM here. We've got a Piranha Cypher, so that's going to be a mix of machine guns and lasers. Wait, dropship. Let's see, what is Jay got on his Crusader? Still those light peeps? No, ER peeps on Jay's Crusader here. The XC is running ER peeps as well. Summoner with large pulse, Warhammer with some hag. All right, so KDCM coming for the mid-range brawl slash trade. They've got an interesting mix here. So all that map discussion I had about where KDCM's path might be going is, I don't know. We'll see where they develop here because they've got some trading ability. How are we looking over on EQ?
Equilibrium has brought a fair bit of mobility. Stormcrow with heavy, large ER mead. Shadowcat is ER PPCs and not the hag variant. But they've got some slower mechs as well. Orion with ER PPC LBX20, a mech that I saw that they were using the previous week. Executioner with large pulse, red lasers, so also kind of pushy. Crusaders got ER PPCs with small lasers. So a lot of skirmish, and then Hellfire's got the that dual hag 20 heavy mead, but a lot of mobility. The one thing I'm going to pull out here as a particular note that is a little bit surprising to me, the Incubus is a cap style mech here with SRM 6 small pulse and machine guns, so that is a very high DPS, can win a light fight, and also has a larger engine, so that is going to be doing a lot of capping.
Yeah, KDCM taking a page from last week's book. We're sending tours in the Jenner, which is a little slow for the cap roll. I would think we're going to want them in at this point, going for that cap a cap. And that is going to give them the 3 cap and a little pressure on EQ. EQ not developing into the receive line, but pushing over to Gamma to onto that snipe hill probably is eventually where they're headed, trying to get a scout on the KDCM. I don't know if they, looks like Nyan saw someone, got a little shot off, but I don't think they ultimately know where KDCM is dispersed. Actually, speaking of KDCM capping, they're going for the EPSI cap as well, putting a 4 cap pressure. So KDCM going to be running the cap and trade game here. What I was hoping for last week, here we go. We finally see some variety in the KDCM, having laid the brawl bait on Vitric.
Yeah,
trying to rotate around
on the field. A lot of hypersalt Gauss here. I like that Warhammer hero. The Maul, is it? It's running the dual Hag 30 and dual large pulse from KDCM. A nice, fairly mobile assault mech with also a good mid-range and almost long-range build as well. Looks like we might have a fight here over Theta. We do have GRAM and Stimrog moving in, looking to take Theta. The cap pressure is on the side of KDCM. Equilibrium does need to be making these moves. They cannot allow 4 cap to exist.
And KDCM ultimately just giving them Theta, choosing not to fight. Looks like their traders are not able to keep up with the EQ traders. Just looking at those damage scores there. Oh, wow.
Oh, where did that happen?
That's a headshot. That was a headshot for FD. I didn't see who got that kill, but well done.
Well, you hope that isn't stripped head armor. That's something in competitive. You need to be bringing that full maximum head armor.
Well, it depends on the mech. On the Summoner, you can get away with a little bit, but it was probably a graze thing. It totally depends on the mech and your play style. Giggity coming in.
Here is getting pincered.
Yep, trying to stay away, but here's the push. EQ set smelling blood.
That Piranha's legged.
Yeah, and ultimately I think that's gonna be okay here based on what I am seeing develop. So we've got the fight going here. Stimrog getting Giggity down. Zelnega gonna be next on the chopping block, or maybe Jay.
No
Let's see where the damage is.
What is the game plan here?
The
from
game plan is
KDCM?
off at Gamma, where I suspect it's Tawars and the Jenner is getting another 4 cap.
Yeah, they went cap strat here. They're sacrificing the Orion and the Executioner
Yep.
in order to try and buy time for caps. That is the only thing that makes sense here.
Yep, and meanwhile we've got Jormungandr, that Warhammer, and Jay, who have managed to escape and are gonna buy the time. Jormungandr with a weak CT here. Sneck going down, just trying to get some damage. Actually, I'm gonna check the leg damage on these mechs because that's gonna be a big deal. Ghosty is fresh. Also Stimrog is fresh. MPG, Magic Pain Glove is fresh. Okay, all Equilibrium might as well just be called fresh as they focus Jormungandr down here. Next
up, Jay goes down.
Yep.
Okay, caps are at 430 at the moment, and there is a 3 cap currently in effect. We're gonna have a little bit of a fight potentially here at Epsilon.
Maybe we'll see.
There's mechs
just getting a full cap.
But that Viper could just get out.
Yep. Eats only heads capping over here at Gamma.
KDCM only has 2 mechs alive, and they still need to maintain a 2 cap in this current situation. I do believe the math works out that way. So they have to kind of defend a cap. Eats only heads is going to have to defend.
Well, he's going to need to honestly just get out. He might be able to. I don't know. Hang on. Let me scoot over, see what's over at Kappa. Because if that's a fight he could take. Oh, that's the Lanner. That would be a tough one, especially with Polycat in there.
Been masking its legs though, or its heat damage. I'd probably mask damage would be my guess.
Might be both. It's a little bit toasty. It's not crazy, but
yeah,
probably a little both. Here goes Towars against G-Ram over here at Sigma. G-Ram catching it CT. Towars with that beautiful SRM just picking G-Ram apart. G-Ram, I don't think. Okay, yeah, so it's going to be up to Towars here to take G-Ram out and keep that cap.
So Viper goes down. The cap situation now is going to go in the favor of Equilibrium. This is, it's all about the 1v1 here now.
Yep, G-Ram open leg. Towars could have CT'd. There we go. All right, Towars down. How much did that cost? Oh, well, enough for Stimrog to get in.
Yeah, back shots there.
And I think that's Chicken off there, and the Axie is going to get there as well. Yeah, that's going to be the very close on KDCM's cap game. That headshot against FDLR was the game changer. 100% altered the flow here.
Yeah, it isn't just that they lost a mech, it's that it changed what their strategy was. They went from trying to play that slow trade game to sacrificing the bigs to try and just cap it out, as they knew that they wouldn't be able to win the trades, missing that summoner. I think that's really where the strategy shift occurred there.
I disagree. I think it was their plan all along to cap. But when that summoner went down, EQ pushed, which made it so that they didn't have the time. EQ just expertly taking the time away from KDCM there and thwarting the strategy. As you can see, that I mean, honestly, 540, that's actually really close. Given another couple minutes. With that summer, they probably could have, I don't think EQ would have pushed quite so soon, allowing KDCM to develop their strategy a little better.
Yeah, it was relatively close. The Viper took the fight on the cap. They had only information that there was 1 mech at the time. The reinforcements are slightly behind. If they had known that there was a 2nd mech there, they might not have taken that fight. But you can't just get perfect scouting information. You don't have, we have this overhead view as spectators, but the players do not have that. Looking at the damage here real quick, 3 double Ds on the side of KDCM. That is what stands out to me initially here. One of those mechs was headshot, and then the Piranha got legged early. Yes. The Crusader didn't manage to put in much damage either before they got taken out, as the collapse was already happening there. Top damage is G-Ram in that Shadowcat with the ERPPCs, although they did go down. And Ghosty is, the Crusader from Bronson as well, kind of as that steamroll front line, picking up some big damage there. Stimrog coming up with a pair of kills and some decent damage. Very important role there, trying to control the caps and picking off the light mechs.
All right, hang on. Sorry, switching us over to the map real quick. If you've been drawn on that, not really. I mean, let's see. What do we have? Honestly, things kind of developed. We didn't. It was more a side swap here. Sorry. So it was poor transition here. I was transitioning us over to the map here. No, this one's on me. So basically what happened is EQ developed over here to Gamma. While we saw KDCM head on over here to Kappa, and then EPSI, and those are basically our lines here.
Yeah, that's about accurate.
Let's see here, and then what ended up happening was we got that lucky headshot, or I don't know if it was lucky, that headshot is a skill shot. There we go. To lay into the Warhorn happened, and then EQ said, "Hey, we're now up a man, and they've got a capper, so really it's a 6 on 8 here. So let's go," and brought the fight to KDCM around I9-ish.
There's already some pressure play going on there from Equilibrium into KDCM's tail end, and then that summoner goes down from the headshot, and now it's the full push. The Piranha got caught out, and very well done from Equilibrium, just keeping that forward pressure going there, working the flanks. And the thing about the terrain around Theta is that it does kind of end up breaking apart the cohesion of a rotating range receive team. The rough terrain and the channels you sometimes can't see to cover your allies while they're trying to transition from the one high ground location to another high ground location, and it's difficult to keep the team together there. So the flanking skirmishers of the Shadowcats, Incubus, other mobile things like the Hellfire, they can kind of get those unpunished peeks and pokes into the mechs that are trying to make that rotation. It's one of those things about the terrain here that I see time and time again in competitive, that somebody just kind of gets left behind in a channel and picked apart without any return damage going in onto their oppressors.
Yeah, again, it is the high ground. It's always the high ground. If Star Wars has taught us anything, that high ground is the place to be it on mining, be it on Vitric, be it on Polar. If you're just stuck down, those angles don't work out for you. Actually, speaking of mining, let's push it over to mining at this point. Let's see, KDCM here over on the quote-unquote good side, where we have Theta. I'm just gonna go ahead and mark in pink these little death zones here, like we've been doing, because time and time again I see teams in queue, sometimes me and my own, since I'm just not a playing around for fun team, just in these death zones around the sides here.
Yeah, it's one of those things that kind of just they suck you in, and you get funneled into there, herded into there if it's a skilled opponent, and before you know it, you're in a pit. You're in a pit, but how do you get out of the pit? And the best way is to not go in the pit in the first place. That would be my recommendation. And what that ends up being is that teams end up playing kind of on the high ground split map scenario, where they are playing like a north-south type orientation instead of an east-west orientation. So it could be either team. So let's put a neutral color for that. I'm going to use white. White probably shows up decent on this map, right?
I would imagine.
So you've got these high ground positions that teams can end up using that are not the death zones.
In fact, these are why those are death zones, are these high grounds.
So if you get up in these high ground locations, and then you can either range trade, range receive. If you're pushing and brawling, you need to have jump jets to get up there to go after those high ground positions, because your opponents are going to be taking them. And yeah, so you can play extreme range trade as well. On the back walls are an option. There's some dark areas you can hide up there with your Gauss mechs, but for the most part, we're going to see things like the cakes or the smokestacks being taken here.
Yep, and I just drew some
control that.
Yeah, I just drew some lines on the map as to this is what KDCM did last time they came around the south. They were able to push Aens around a little bit, so they ended up in the Delta 3. Their wolf pack came around Echo 5. along, hang on, let me make sure I don't do anything here. Just along this area, just kind of screened what was going on, was able to push 1 or 2 mechs out that were kind of trying to figure out where KDCM was, and push them back here onto those cakes, while the main force made a mostly unscathed push across like this Echo 3 area. It was a beautiful push. Yeah,
a brilliant strategy that KDCM used. They sacrificed their light squad to push mechs off of the cakes into the low ground behind the cakes in order to buy time for their assaults to make that cross through the open terrain. Now, Equilibrium has probably seen that replay. They'll be ready for that.
Yes.
I don't know if that strat's going to work a second time, but it was brilliant to see the first time. If anyone hasn't seen that, go back, check the VOD, watch that dropout. It was a very good one there.
I expect EQ honestly to go for probably a north side hold. Seeing last week's VOD, in order to counter that, you know, I think they're just gonna immediately develop rather than letting things get pushed around a little bit, which is what ended up happening to Aens there. So hey, let's see how they go. Both teams are locked. We're gonna move. We'll see how they turn out, and we'll talk about it afterwards and also during. We'll go ahead and give us a launch.
Both teams one team was at 475 there.
Oops.
That was team 2, which would be
that would be KDCM. 5 tons, not a whole lot of issue, especially if you're looking for certain mechs do certain things better, and sometimes you just 5 tons is gonna make you take something silly to get that, especially in like the mediums. Like now you don't have jump jets. Jump jets on this map, very important. If you're stuck in the low ground, it's a problem.
I like to try and catch that tonnage. Sometimes it tips the strat a little bit if somebody's under by 20 or something. But for the most part, 5 tons doesn't tell me a whole lot either way.
Yep. All right, here we go. We are coming in. That was a quick load up. Let's see, whose side am I on? I'm on the KDCM side here. We've got Assassin, Marauder 2C, and XE. This is looking like a mid-ranges push. SRMs on the Summoner, sorry about that. Executioner with the PPC, still very able to brawl the Marauder with a bit of a high alpha. He's going to be their Overwatch. Zelnega with the Mistlinks. I'm not going to look at that. That's going to be machine guns. And Viper build's always interesting. Is a little knife fighter over here. The Assassin, I'm going to be curious. Probably SRMs. Yep, SRMs. All right, what do we got over on the other side?
So Equilibrium is running definitely a receive deck here. A lot of Hyper Assault Goths on their side. The Night Gear is dual Hag 30 with, I believe it was a Heavy Large and an ER Mead. Executioner's ERPPCs, Shadowcat was ERPPCs. The Marauder here, the Bounty Hunter, which is the 75-ton IS Marauder, is ERPPC and Goss. So 2 ERP, 1 Goss. The Huntsman here is a new build as well. Dual Hag 20 on that Huntsman, 1 in the arm, 1 in the side torso. Very good quirks on that mech for cooldown. That's kind of a new standout potential mech here. See how it works out this game.
The Bounty Hunter is in an interesting position. I don't know that there's enough to really see here unless there's a really deep push. All right, Nyan is moving off of it though. And they are tucking themselves into this corner over here around the south, which was KDCM's push pass. So yeah, they're looking for that receive.
This is dedicated. They are conceding cap points here if KDCM is to go take them in order to take this high ground position.
And at this point, as long as they're not bleeding armor, which I want to take a look at Eats Only, who is hurt all over the place, they can allow this to cap. They have the advantage of the map here if they just want to take it. They're gathering for that push, though, hoping that Equilibrium will run for some caps, I think is what's happening. They're going to wait for EQ to go counter. I assume that's... actually, who is that over here? That's Zelnega and the Mistlinks. I think that's what they're waiting for as their trigger. Meanwhile, Equilibrium is developing this quadrant, really just kind of like taking over this lower left quadrant if you look at the minimap.
Yeah, Ghosty's taking a position on the side flank here with that Hag 20 Huntsman. It's going to be putting in some damage here into the KDCM's position.
Yeah, especially from this angle here.
Yeah, if the graphics settings aren't set up right, that's a very hard mech to see. This is a very dark portion of the map. and the Hag will not give a lot of weapons fire indicators either to track fire back.
That
Chicken
being
Man's
said, the channel
crossing.
is fairly narrow, so it'll be fairly obvious where it's coming from at the very least.
That's fair.
Let's see.
It's
All
a
right.
little bit hard to pick a component, though.
Oh, 100%. All right. Yeah, here's a little push by EQ trying to push KDCM over on the rotation here. We're going to rotate around this high ground. KDCM in one of those kill boxes. They need to get out of that.
Disconnect? Jorgemunder's not moving.
Oh, Yorm
like
is not moving. Lots has happened. Disconnect is not going to develop a hold here, but GRAM ignoring Yorm.
Yeah, they already took the most weaponry off.
Yeah. All right, here goes our fight. Let's see here. Looks like Basalt in the night gear. Catching a little bit of SRM fire there, but not a whole lot. Just
Neck is being sacrificed.
Yep. Sneck, I think, was a little still there for a minute. I'm wondering if that was a shutdown. Yeah.
Well,
Eat's only going up against GRAM, fairly chewed. That's not going to end too well.
Jorgemunder's back now, but their mech is halved, and this is kind of just already over. It was developing into an interesting fight there. The disconnect perhaps ruined it. I'm not sure it would have worked out for KDCM either way, but disconnect does not help.
Well, I'm just gonna.
At such a key time.
EQ took the high ground. Is what I'm gonna say. Like Jormungandr's back. It was a relatively quick DC there, but it's EQ took the high ground and KDCM stayed low ground. They could have pushed over Echo 4. Which would have pushed EQ off of that high ground and allowed them to trade a lot better against what's happening. But here we just see, you know, that canyon play. KDCM stuffed into the low ground here while EQ takes it to them from literally every angle, with the exception of Jay here, who's going at it with Chicken Man. Bit of a lopsided battle, but I think Jay might be able to pick him. No,
not quite.
No, GRAM coming in on that. Polycat getting Jormungandr. And Zelnega's still out there somewhere with the mist links.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We're in a fight over here. And there it goes. Getting taken down by Ghosty. The CT shot.
Ghosty's leg is open there on Huntsman. There was a chance, but I think Neandir came in and messed that fight up with the Gospeep Marauder as well.
Oh, I would imagine.
Caps were looking reasonable for KDCM there. If they had been able to hold on just a little bit longer, perhaps they needed to make that rotation a little bit earlier. And I'm not sure if the rotation was delayed because of the disconnect potentially. I don't know when that disconnect occurred.
Yeah, they could have been sitting because they did have the cap lead and waiting for EQ to make an aggressive move, but ultimately they sat in that low ground, that dangerous low ground that we highlight every single time, and are just like, do not go here. That's where we end up. I honestly, I'm going to chalk it up to that more than anything else. I think KDCM had a very strong development early on, and then just got a little stagnant, waiting for that push. EQ staying very mobile, taking the high ground, doing all the things.
Yeah, there are potentially factors outside of KDCM's control that led to them sitting in that low ground longer than they needed to. They could have made a push out of that low ground or a rotation of that low ground, and there are potentially reasons why they didn't. And I don't know what was going on exactly with some of those outside of their control factors.
Yeah, that's also very possible.
I'm gonna go ahead and run through the damages here real quick.
Good.
I think I've got it updated. No, I do not. For whatever reason, it's not. Something is not pulling right. My mistake.
As soon as I can find Hibernal, I'm gonna run the swap here while you're getting that. Let's not worry about damages too much. Looks like Bonson in the Crusader doing a lot of work for EQ. Also, it seems that we may have forgotten to swap on the next one, so we'll figure out where things are on the top score. Sorry about that, guys. This is a side swap, so we're going to do that.
Yeah, I've just got a little bit of something here that maybe I can repair.
Excellent.
Know why it's not functioning, but
All right, here we go. I'm just gonna head on over to well, here, let me take a quick look on what's going here. Yeah, Bonza with the 854 damage, Ghosty also with 600 KDCM, running in decent spread, a couple of double Ds is basically what we're looking at. Just to keep us moving here, so we'll take a look at the map, and I just cleared everything accidentally. That's fine. Basically, what ended up happening is EQ decided to hang out over here in this general area. KDCM heading, I'll use an arrow for them since they more or less went the same with the Mistlinks heading around doing some cap work. And where our fight was saw EQ, this is the wrong tool, saw EQ hanging out up top here, up top here, up top here, and just raining down on KDCM, who ended up still on white here. In these kill zones. Which I will now mark, I guess, in red, since that's kind of where they ended up. They pretty much died right around here along these Echo 4 sides with, you know, a couple of outliers. But really, all those deaths happened in that heat map for KDCMs. Like you said, maybe bottled up by Jormungandr getting a DC, so they tried to wait for him to reconnect. EQ not going to let him do that.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine. But yeah.
It
either way, that is the path, and that is where they die, like we've told every time.
It was the flank shots coming out from the Huntsman over in the dark area, and then also G-Ram and the Shadow Cat with the Yarp Heaps from this window box, which those two angles make that the death trap, and you know, you can't sit in there for any length of time as soon as there's those two flank positions.
Yep. And they didn't. They rotated around. That was where they rotated around in Echo 4, and then ultimately the fire, you know, Ghosty shifted over to the left here and got the shots there. It was just a bad spot. They should have gone over the top.
Yeah. They did have some jump jets, but I don't think all of their mechs had jump jets for KDCM. So, the Marauder obviously didn't, but that wasn't a major factor in terms of once the fighting started. Jump jets are important. So you can try and get these high ground positions back. But they, you know, I did like that attempt to try and take the cap. You showed aggression the previous week. This week you play it more passive, sitting in an ambush location while grabbing that 4 cap. A good attempt from KDCM.
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. Some things to be looked at, but you know, as we mentioned, those jump jets. What's our next map here? Hibernal. I'm already
Hibernal, and I'm going to switch our team sides here in the overlay.
Oh yes, thank you for catching that. Whippity swappity group here. So EQ now on team 2 again. Last week we saw some interesting wall play, I think, up in the back, somewhere around this corner here. I think it was Ghosty that hopped up there in a night gear, hopping up in like the B5 wall in order to counter a push coming from team 1 on the right hand side. And they have the same side again, so I expect similar play, at least at the beginning. Especially with KDCM, if KDCM, a small map, if they're going to look to push around this right side Epsilon, which is a very common and viable push path around here, quite frankly, I expect to see them sort of set up a general receive line somewhere around there, maybe a little bit into Theta, and expect a very, very small skirmish over here at Theta. That is what I would expect. However, if KDCM decides to go, well, they won't go the cap and trade route on this one. I think this is definitely a KDCM push map for sure. I don't really know how to counter a long range mech on the wall with the push, so it'll be interesting to see if that is for sure, or if KDCM tries to find some alternate pathing, if they've done a little homework.
That did look like a fairly strong position that Night Gear was using the previous week.
Yep. And expect the lights to go out on a little jaunt here, maybe to Theta, out to Kappa. If they're left unopposed. That's not Kappa.
Yeah. I think the existence of that night gear position, that might just mean the end of the classic epsilon push from the team one side. That's just too hard a position to dislodge. Now, on the other hand, if you put that night gear up there, I don't think there's any cover for it. So trade positions might be better from Bucket Hill against that night gear. You can force the drop and then push, or maybe just try to get enough damage early on that night gear early if they use that position in order to be able to just play a more stationary trade type setup. But right now, nobody's playing stationary in the meta, so.
And nor should you. Like stationary meta is well gone. You have to be able to move, which EQ is, definitely showing. You have your initial development positions, and that's great. Those are things to talk about, but then you need to be thinking about where are you going to go from there? Where's your next step? So even if we do see EQ take this and KDCM doesn't push into them, it's going to be about how do they develop that. Expect Ghosty to kind of stay off. Just gonna do a quick measure. It is about 1 kilometer over to Theta. So if KDCM fights on the Charlie side of the map, they'll definitely be in range of some night gear shenanigans. But yeah, otherwise it's we'll see how it develops. But honestly, I expect KDCM to push this. The question is where, and with them on team 2 and seeing that there is wall play that is available on this map, I don't think it's going to work out. I'm very pessimistic on this one for KDCM, but I hope to be proven wrong. Going to go ahead and launch us now so that we can see where these teams end up.
Yeah, KDCM's 475 tons, Equilibrium's bringing the 480. Again, both teams are right at or on the cap or on the tonnage limits, so looking for that fight. This is drop number 4. So far, it's been a sweep for Equilibrium. So KDCM looking to just kind of pull back a couple of points here. Not going to be able to win the match, but just improve their seating position by taking a couple of points. A couple of wins here would be pretty big for them.
Yeah, I found myself in a mech again just by clicking my mouse somehow, which should not take me into a mech. That's very strange. So we'll come out here eventually once the camera retilts. Thinking about it.
Reactor online.
There it is. All right, we're out. All right, let's see. I ended up in an Equilibrium mech, so we'll take Magic Pain Glove. Taking a look at the Phoenix Hawk here. We're running with light and a heavy, just like we saw last week. Our Shadowcat with ER peeps on this one and some micros, getting some initial shots off as I pass by. 9 deer in the Highlander. We're looking at just a brawl Highlander, just looking to hold that corner probably. And here's Basalt getting up top in the night gear. There's our path right there, folks. Watching it happen in real time or not. All right, we'll move on from that struggle. And sorry, we'll get to the other team's mechs in a second here.
Yeah.
Bronson again with the light and heavy. That's an interesting thing. I wonder if the damage and heat works out in that combination, rather than just
KDCM
2 of one of them.
Is stacked up on the Epsilon corner. I don't know if they're going to push or not. Sneck in that mall, the Otter 2C hero is dual Hag 40. So that is a faster, more brawly build. Yep. It has very good cooldown quirks for those Hag 40s.
Yeah, it looks like they're looking up just straight up the middle push here maybe.
Yeah.
Which didn't work so well for them last time too.
Stimrog is in a little bit of trouble here if that Jenner gets the hits.
And we'll see if FD and the Incubus can turn those tides. I think Stimrog is going to escape with a little bit of damage here.
Yeah. Stimrog didn't see that Jenner coming up from behind it, but that SRM spread didn't seem to pick out a side torso quite right.
No. Just a little bit of hit, lost some back armor. I don't know if he started with any, but Stimrog is just fine. Chicken Man, on the other hand, down to 83% here.
KDCM's making the push happen. Both teams are ignoring the caps. They know this is just going to go down to fight.
Yep.
Jay's taking damage, though.
Basalt has found the wall, and we're pushing on GRAM in the Shadowcat. Plenty of speed to pull back. Bronson falling down, falling back. They're going to try to hold that corner that I mentioned before. Stimrog, a little out here, taking some damage, a little bit unnecessary, taking a lot of damage. What's happening with Stimrog? It's all over the place. That's fine. KDCM unable to hold those burns on the twisting. FDR going down in the Incubus as the lights try to come around the back. as the bigs push now over the hill. Here we go.
Highlanders
90
down.
going down. Jay and the Xe is about to go down. Let's see. Sneck with his Warhammer just raining down with dual hag 40s. Chicken Man looking real weak in that Executioner Towars, and the Jenner going down to the Equilibrium light pack. What happened to Basalt? Basalt is off the wall, having taken a lot of shots. There's no cover off that.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a lot of heat damage, but he is Chicken Man should be down
Chicken
already,
Man
quite
spreading
frankly.
damage quite well.
Oh yeah, look at that spread. Beautiful. Sneck had
Hellfire's
gone down.
halved.
There goes Jormungandr. It is now 3-on-6 with Equilibrium, mostly fresh.
Yeah, it looks like this is going the way of Equilibrium. Very good fight here from KDCM. They did pick up a fair bit of damage and kills, but in the end, Equilibrium has the mech still standing.
And relatively fresh at that. It's the wolf pack came in fresh and just was able to clear up.
Yeah. The Basalt and the Night Gear got halved, so that would have been I don't know if that's heat halving or if it was trade halving, as
Probably
KDCM
trade.
did have a fair bit of mid-range high burst damage there.
Yeah, I think who is in that Warhammer? Sneck in the Warhammer probably halved him, and then we took heat damage from that engine.
Yeah.
And some heat sinks would be my
The
guess.
difference about the Hypersalt Gauss builds versus the standard Gauss builds is you don't have that heat neutral weapon to continue putting out damage when you are running hot, so you do see a little bit more heat damage there than what we used to be seeing in a Gauss ER large type Night Gear, more traditional old school build, I guess you'd call it now, 2 months old.
Yep. Bonson and that Crusader again putting up a significant amount of damage to KDCM folks, again double D'd, which has been the consistent story. It makes a big difference here. Sneck in that Warhammer at 357, and where is Basalt in that Night Gear? 475, good showing. I don't know how soon he ended up getting halved there. We missed that shot, but he...
Yeah.
It's a great position. He had that Overwatch as they were pushing over and really just made them stay put for a couple extra seconds at the very least. It's a very powerful position.
I mean, Bonson's got the top damager, that Crusader 6T getting in close, mixing it up. The high DPS on the small lasers coming in clutch. But good damage spread for both teams. A little bit lower for a couple of the KCM lights not getting... I didn't see what happened to them in the fight there, but I imagine that they must have gone down a little bit early. But good damage spread on the side of Equilibrium. Everyone managed to put out significant damage. You know, I thought there for a second just earlier that Stimrog might have gotten surprised from behind by that Jenner 2C. That could have maybe changed the outcome a little bit. Just getting an early kill there on a light mech could have shifted the balance slightly, but ultimately it did not happen. I don't know. Maybe Seismic Sensor there told Stimrog what was coming.
Yeah, or maybe someone gave him a shout out. He did have a little bit of Overwatch at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, definitely was able to get out of there. And his team was close, so we didn't have very far to go. Let's see here. Gonna go ahead and clear this. We'll draw some routes here. KDCM on team 1. Sent their Jenner over this way, but most everyone just kind of up the center here. While we definitely saw EQ send Basalt up onto the wall here, and they basically held actually not even that far. See here, Basalt up here, we saw Stimrog up here, a little bit of development over here, but ultimately our fight happened right here on this corner like it did before. KDCM pushing right into that, a little bit of a light fight back here.
I just wiped it.
That's okay.
My apologies.
It's
I
all
wanted
good.
to correct a line here a little bit for the KDCM push. They did go to Epsilon first before retreating and making the push across. Just wanted to
that is
sketch
good.
that a little bit different.
Yeah, and then we had there we go. That's probably a better representation there.
I didn't
clean that up.
the map while doing that though. My apologies.
Yeah,
But they did check the
happen.
Epsilon corner. They saw the push was not good. Rotated, went through the dropship, and used the a different push angle.
And that hanging out up here on this hill was Sneck in that Warhammer counteracting Basalt up here in that corner. So that is actually,
Yeah.
I'm just going to draw a green line here. That was at, not that kind of a green line, that kind of a green line. That was kind of a key point to that push that made it even work as much as it could. Because Basal has, that's such a commanding position up there. You get such range. It's an interesting one to see, for sure on that one.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. Either you out trade it from the Epsilon corner before you make your push, or you got to find some way that you're not just pushing through the open into that that night gear. And
that's the challenge with pushes, finding those approaches where you don't take the damage. And that night gear up top pretty much eliminates everything on this map, unless you were going to take all the way around Kappa, but that's just going to become an issue because EQ would have then moved out of their corner and had some more map control on that. And
that night gear was such an elevated position, it might even be able to see into these channels around Kappa. I'm not really sure. That's something I would like to test in testing grounds, I suppose, before next week, just to see how far that night gear can actually see. It could be a ridiculous length of the map.
And I mean, look, that being said, the language is about 1,100 meters to theta, so they're still restricted in the range that they're really effective. But it's all about seeing that approach, using those using them OY balls. More than the sensors. Oops. Why don't we move on to Crimson? If you could make that update, I'm going to give some 1.5 minute warnings here.
Okay. Never mind, let's get that Crimson Strait up.
Oh, you did it the bad way.
Oh, my apologies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to remember that for next time. Yep. All right, so Crimson Strait, how do I want to draw this out? Well, we've got an island. I'm going to go put a big marker on the island. What color shows up here?
Oh boy, I don't know. The new domination circles are green. I'm going to draw the EQ path because I guarantee I know it, depending on where the ADCM depends to push. But that initial, I can almost guarantee this will be their initial pathing here. They're going to pause on Epsilon, maybe send some lights over Gamma Way. I'm going to put some dotted line on that because they might send someone to Theta. Depends on what they see from KDCM. But yeah, I really expect the play to be take Epsilon with the bigs, trade a little bit. We'll put a yellow dotted line here for those trade lines on where they're going to be looking to trade from. And if they see someone to trade from there, they're going to pause and trade with them until Island is deemed clear. If Island is deemed clear, they're going to go ahead and take it. That's my thought there. KDCM, what they need to do is push that Island. At full force, push that Island, get those traders off of FC. And if they don't, if EQ does not take the Island, push all the way to FC, just push their traders. That's how it needs to go. And yeah, maybe some of those dotted lines there, that's another very good path there.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Last week, I think they ended up split, like their wolf pack ended up over here, or actually I think they went tunnel push last time. As I recall.
Tunnel push. Yeah.
Just kind of with their wolf pack while the rest of them took the traders. That was the problem. They ended up split. And Aens just came around here and dealt with the wolf pack while the traders were left in the lurch. So I think this is a very clear
tunnel force got pushed out by a superior force while their range mechs could not cover them in the tunnel. So
exactly.
You got to be a little bit careful there. You don't get caught in the tunnel, I'd say. But you need to have somebody providing you that scouting intel. The island boys have to be able to see that, and there's buildings in the way. You can't see everything. We'll see how KDCM tries to pull out. We're assuming a push here. I mean, Team 2 has an elevated trade position that is quite strong behind their cap point. But I think that I kind of favor Team 1 positions here on this map, having kind of watched it play out. It is difficult for Team 2 to get a second cap without, making a play toward the island, in which case you're basically just doing a push. So the Theta cap is just such a high risk to send anyone out there. If you send one mech and your opponent send 3, then you're just down a mech. If you send 3 mechs and your opponent send none and they push you, then you're just down 3 mechs in the real fight. It's just such a long distance for both teams to get all the way over to Theta. But for Team 1, they maybe have a little bit more support that they can have lurking near Theta that's still able to contribute to an island fight, as opposed to Team 2 maybe having to commit a little bit more if they try to go for Theta. Hard to say. I still am excited to see this play out. It's still, for me, it feels like a new map in this 8v8 format, and I'm excited to see how these teams play it.
All right, and speaking of that, both teams are ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and send it here. Yeah, 480 on both sides. I will warn against this Kappa snipe spot. We've seen some teams try to take this H4 spot. The range is, they're just not putting out the damage that they need to do. And if you've got one down here at Kappa, I think the low ground is probably where they're going to end up trading from rather than the high ground again because of that distance. You're like 3-on-1 with this Epsi, and this guy just ends up getting ignored because if we're trading that's like 2 kilometers. If we're trading
it's a very passive
island,
position.
it's like 12 to 1400, which you're just at tickle damage at that point. But in any case, over the match cast.
I do like that position myself personally. It feels good to be up there, but you have to have a very passive game, or else you're not contributing.
Yep. And this is these are not going to be EQ is not going to allow you to be passive.
No, not with this 8v8 5-cap format. We got teams coming in here, and I will go look at KDCM.
All right, I'm over here at Equilibrium. We're looking at a Stalker 5S, Crusader 6T. Let's see, our Stalker, of course, with 6, our Crusader with 5 ER. I'm on the Crusader, right? Yeah, with 5 ER large and some small. So that's a toasty little Crusader trader, which is interesting. Our Skull, of course, with the PPC's LB20. Let's see, anything else here? The Shadow Cat. I always like to see what they're bringing here. The large lasers on that one. So yeah, we've got a very, very tradey with a Wolf Pack from EQ pausing on Epsilon with GRAM going out to scout the island. All right, what do we got off KDCM here?
KDCM is looking to push. They've got large pulse on their assaults. The Blood Asp is ER large though, of course, but so they do have some range here. ER large on the Marauder 2C, ER PPC on the Crusader, but the light pack is all small pulse. Like the Firestar is small pulse. There's no light PPCs on that, and they definitely are looking to be aggressive. They're taking the island with traders though, but there is a push coming behind it that they have not detected.
Yeah, and that is that's
Crusader
ultimately okay for KDCM,
there,
but they are split again. Their wolf pack is on that platform. That's gonna.
They were maybe looking to jump whoever went for Theta, but now they're coming back to the island. This is a push. They're seeing Stimrog. They know that they are being pushed on the island. They need to get their entire force over here.
And here goes EQ committing to it with their Orion, Shadowcat, and what else was over there? The Exy. That's what it is. Pushing around, getting a pinch on these big. So with EQ's focus, this is going to go quick. Giggity getting in there with the Piranha alone,
Lights
just needing to
just arriving.
Yep. Shine Plasma from Equilibrium looking a little rough there at 62% though. Leg almost gone. Eats only heads pushed a little too far. Oh wow, there goes Shine Plasma and GRAM down. Yes, it is still an even game, and all forces are committed here. Jormungandr coming in here with the Marauder, just getting some shots in.
Coming in from behind though now.
Yep.
But that is not a brawl build. You said it was ER large.
5 ER large. It's still got some smalls, but it's it's definitely jumpable. Yeah. Towar's
pushing KDCM.
Maybe we'll see. They do have the numbers at this point. Towar's just getting in, mixing it in, taking out Stimrog, getting some vindication there, and then Nyan. No, here it is. KDCM. Here we go. Definitely there. I thought Towar's was at a tough spot, but KDCM pushing through, getting
Magic Pain Glove legged.
Yep, and there's the final, and there goes Bonson with that 5. KDCM, the lights getting there just in time. In time.
When I saw Bronson coming in and that fresh Crusader, and you expect that typical Crusader brawl, Snub-Nose PPC, small laser, just an absolute DPS monster, but with 5 ER large, that Crusader coming in from behind just isn't scary.
I mean, it can be. 5 ER large to the back is going to do bad things to you, but then you've got all the time in the world to push it. So, well done on KDCM's part, doing the push strat, getting the push strat on this one. EQ pushing where they thought they needed to, and honestly, they had the jump. KDCM's Wolfpack, which was all the way out on the platform over by the saddle, coming in at the clutch time to prevent that devastating push that EQ was on. Well played by both teams. Looking at the damage spread, it is really even, with Jormungandr and that Marauder just sort of the standout at 550 over everybody else. So there we are on that.
That was Equilibrium pushing into KDCM. KDCM just desperately scrambling their lights back, but ending up out brawling. There was a little bit of some build differences there that maybe contributed to that, but KDCM's assaults were not built for pushing either, really. There was a lot more ear large there than I was initially expecting. So I don't know. I guess Equilibrium, maybe a couple mechs kind of trickled in one at a time to start off the fight there. And KDCM's lights just coming back just in time. I would say even a little bit late, but not too late apparently.
Yeah,
that is an upset though. KDCM managing to walk away with 1 out of the 4 drops today.
Just like last time, upsetting that perfect game that Equilibrium was looking for. So KDCM is definitely the I don't necessarily want to say the sticks in the mud here, but what are preventing everyone from just pure sweeping this whole tournament. So well done, KCCM, on that one.
What they've done here, tying it into our next match coming up in a little bit, Aens, if they can come out with a sweep, they'll be tied with Equilibrium heading into a head-to-head match next week. So they've got a chance here. KDCM has given them a fighting chance to be able to walk in at an even position for that final seeding match that is occurring next week.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we've got our next one coming out. We are actually past time, so I'm going to take a 5-minute break and throw up the counter here while we get everything switched over. So we'll be back. Don't leave. We will be back with the next one. We're just taking switch over the overlays and insignias and all that kind of stuff, clear scoreboards, doing all that kind of stuff in the background to get ready for this next one. So we'll be back shortly and should have our map selection very shortly after that. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Sorry for the short delay there. Thought we could get everything done in about 5 minutes, but we weren't quite able to. But hey, here we are, just a couple seconds late. So in with our second match here, of the CS23 Invitational seeding round between Aens and the Darkseid Corsairs. Last week, the Darkseid Corsairs were swept by EQ. While the Aens, much like we saw with our last match, were held off from a sweep of their own, with KDCM taking a drop off of them. So will DSC follow up in KDCM's footsteps and stave off another sweep, or hey, will they turn it around against the current second place team and pull a sweep of their own? Very possible. We'll find out. With me, as was before, is Therax, also casting on MWO leagues too. Something to keep track of as well if you want a different perspective on this.
Yeah, try to cover the other fights that Ivor's not. Maybe more on a rewatch. People want to come through, see if there's an alternate angle. That's quite an option as well. So we're just waiting for players to get in here for the map bans.
Yeah, actually, we've got enough. Just going to make sure that they are good to go before we officially, let's see, Hollow is ready, Bowser is ready. All right, we're going to go ahead and begin on that. So here comes our map ban. Sorry, I'll get us over to that as quickly as possible. Try to get us underway since we are running a smidge late. All right, looks like we have our first pick of Hibernal.
Okay, Hibernal map 1.
From Aens. Let's see here.
We're playing all 5 maps. This isn't a traditional map ban. These are the maps that they want to play in the order they want to play.
That is a good point. We are not actually banning maps here. This is a selection, so it's a little bit different. We're using a tool that works, but is definitely geared towards the ban side of things.
Yeah. So if you're playing, competitive queue, you're banning maps there. Over here, teams are picking maps. It's one of those things to keep in mind. People want to play Hibernal as their first map, is what they're indicating here.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of general trend here of teams picking the shorter maps generally first, and they are gonna pick the ones that they are strongest on. Vitric next. See another small map happening here. Get those brawls out of the way, and then trade later. Polar coming in the middle. Actually, I like this.
Probably mostly just a morale thing, in order, like picking the maps that you think you're good with, in order to try and to build momentum through starting with wins. But you are going to be playing all 5, so like other than a psychological thing, there's no real reason to be playing one map before another.
Yeah, I mean, but that is where it is, right? You want, while you're freshest, to play your best maps, get those wins that you can not exactly guarantee. But almost near guarantee that you have the best to get just chance on.
Maps are locked in here. They're doing Hibernal, Vitric, Polar, Mining, Crimson. We're just waiting for them to pick team sides.
All right, here we go. Hibernal. Aens is going to end up as team 1. Will they make it easy for us? Maybe. But yeah, no, going back to where we were, it is absolutely psychological, because that momentum happens. You get some players, I'm not saying there are any on these teams, but I have seen it on many teams where someone just gets, oh, it's hopeless, we've lost this. But I mean, really, you're playing for points here and seeding, so it's a little bit of a different feel. If you can keep everybody's heads in the right place, it makes a difference. And team leaders, and even some people on the teams just, end up just being such morale cheerleaders by necessity, because once your team gets in their own heads, it goes down fast. All right, team 1. All right.
Are they going to do it so you don't have to switch team sides at all?
Oh, I hope so. It's always nice. It's never expected, but it makes things easy, and it prevents us from forgetting to swap the sides on the scoreboards there. That being
That's one
said,
of
some of
those.
these maps do have definite advantage on one team or another. So there we go. There's
Absolutely.
a team
And even if it is, evenly balanced between the two teams, it might be that one side plays a certain strat easier than another, or even has a strat available to them that the opposing team side doesn't. So we do have them ruining the perfect no swap thing going on here with the Mining Collective, but just need them to indicate their team size for Crimson.
two. Yep. Crimson isn't. There we go. All right. So
Okay.
one swap throughout the whole thing. That's not
Yeah.
too bad.
Yep.
There certainly have been other tournaments that have used that format. Let me just make sure we're on the right side. Aens is currently in the team 1 slot. All right.
Yes.
Excellent. So I'll get these guys going. If you want to start to talk about what were we starting with? Hibernal.
Hibernal, yeah.
I'll swap the map over here.
Okay. Yep. Sorry. Yes. I was going to make a mistake there again. Okay. Let's get that map room opened up. And so, yeah, what we've, a new thing perhaps for some of us in competitive, there is a location up high where you can stick a night gear with jump jets that kind of dominates the map from the team 2 side. Now, what we've got here, Aens playing team 1, and Darksea Corsair is playing team 2. So now our Darksea Corsair is going to take advantage of that trade position or not. I would suspect yes. I do think that they will likely kind of lean toward playing a bit of a more trade-focused style as opposed to an aggressive push style.
Especially seeing Hollow on Crimson Strait in that, I think it's on the Team 2 side, trade position way up on the hill there that we were talking about during our last one. That's of, middling usefulness depending on how the other team plays. That is the same kind of a spot up there. If you're expecting to push, great spot to be. If it's going to be trade, well, this map is actually probably better for it, but your ranges are still pretty long for the typical setup.
Yeah. Now,
but I would expect
on the opposing side, like Aens, how they're going to play, they can play a bit more aggressive, I suspect, but they might mix in some range as well. They might make use of the Bucket Hill trade position, anticipating things in the high ground position. And they'll probably play some pressure plays toward around Theta, be my bet. I think both teams are going to be challenging, contesting for that Theta cap point. But I don't think it's going to be a full-on dedicated push here from Aens. Now, what I'm wondering is if there's going to be a Kappa fight. It's a possibility, but that might not be a priority focus for either of these teams initially. They might not just go rush Kappa. They might rush Theta instead, and then fade over to Kappa when it becomes clear whether or not they can take it. But I think most of it's going to be focused not necessarily on an Epsilon push. We've seen that might just be a thing of the past now, but maybe this backline ridge trade with plays around Theta, aggressive plays around Theta, skirmishing from the team 1 side, the Aens, and perhaps with the Bucket Hill support backing up, trading around the Epsilon corner as opposed to pushing. Now, they could also play a little bit more aggressive than that.
I expect honestly, I expect Aens to take a wide stance here, probably over towards the Epsilon side of things.
Not necessarily dropping down and making a push.
No,
but
they'll stay high ground here.
Ridge, aggressive trading
along this line.
Heavy play around Theta with a skirmishing.
Yeah, Darksea Corsair is a little more unknown to me. They are a newer team, but by no means newer players. So we'll see how they turn out. Honestly, I would expect. I don't know. I don't think we're going to see a Kappa fight. I'm gonna think we're going to see a Theta fight. And Aens is going to try to draw them in.
Play style, just because I haven't seen these teams in Darksea Corsairs all that much, and then from Aens, they just have maybe a little bit more of a freewheeling play style from the outside is how it looks, where they're maybe not like a top-down drop calling style, and so they play like a bit of a mix kind of, as opposed to that pure cohesion, everybody go make this push now or whatever. Like every player is kind of trusted to make their own judgments, their own calls, their own builds even, where they're all playing together as a team, but they're not drilled into a single entity in terms of how they're going to play.
Yeah, it's a very different approach, and with players this skilled, you can, they're not. They are scrimming. Like let's not say that they're not doing anything. Like they are absolutely scrimming teams out there. But you're right. They do tend to be a little looser. It's like, hey, here's what we're doing. Bring what you know, and they know what they need to do and where their role is in that, and they probably discuss it a bit. But yeah, it's a little looser, but they are overall, and they know this, very skilled traders. And they're focus fire. I guarantee they are talking to each other about that focus fire and where they need to be.
It just from the outside, it doesn't feel like they have a singular drop caller. I think I think they might have multiple drop callers, or maybe everybody's calling things out, and they're just so skilled that they can play off of that without anyone having to tell them what to do.
Mm-hmm. And that is the case.
It looks a little bit looser. It's harder to predict what they're going to be doing, but it's not that they're unskilled or anything of that nature. Not at all. What I'm saying is just that when you have a single drop caller, you can tell they're leading the push, and everybody's following them, or something of that nature. Like what you see with KDCM, Jay's at the front of the push, but with a team like Aens, it's not clear who's the leader.
Yeah, and that is one thing. Honestly, I prefer teams that talk to that degree where you don't necessarily need a color. Like someone will be like, hey, there's a weakness here, we need to push now, and everyone's just like, got it, here we go. Or like, hey, need a little support over here, or I'm trading the shit out of this person and have been drilling their CT for the past 2 minutes. They're an easy pick for the lights, kind of a thing. Just that information sharing, and anyone who's like in CompQ, maybe you're a new team seeing what this is all about. This is what some of these high level comms are. There is not necessarily a drop caller. Sometimes there is, but very often there's not. It's just about the information sharing and being able to pick out what information is useful to you. I've also seen teams that get really quiet, and it's just really difficult. I tend to be a light pilot on these Wolfpack kind of a thing. So I'm like, hey, is there a pick anywhere I should be looking for? And the team's just absolutely quiet. I'm like, I got nothing. And then things go south, right? So communication.
You've got 8 people with microphones, like, everybody can use them, right? And just keep the call simple. But when everyone's got a high level of player knowledge, and you just get those communications going on, it doesn't have to be top down. Like everybody has got a microphone. Just key it up. Let me know what's going on, Love to be on teams that communicate well. But looks like our teams
our teams are locked, so we'll go ahead and launch despite my own banter happening here. Always with Aens, especially, the banter is top tier with everything, so it's hard not to get caught up. But here we go into
we've got
Hibernal.
480 tons from everyone. So maximum tonnage here, as kind of expected.
I'll be interesting to see, especially with the Darksea Corsairs, if they take any of KDCM's homework from last week, reviewing those tapes, seeing where Aens' weaknesses are. It could make a real big difference. And like I said, I don't know the tendency of the Corsairs. I know they're skilled shooters in general. So we'll see how it turns out, but if they decided to mix it up with a push, I don't think Aens would see it coming.
That's the thing. If you've seen something, you've done your scouting homework, maybe there's something there.
Yeah, and actually looking at an Ebon Dragoon with SRMs. All right, that's not something we usually see. Let's see what else we got here. Mark J, light PPC. So we've got a bunch of Pop-Tart traders with a very small light pack here. I think we're looking at 3 probably. With a bunch of heavy Pop-Tarters over here from the Darksea Corsair. So very interesting, could be very strong against Aens, though again, they are skill traders. So here, actually interesting, Aens pushing in towards that Kappa. Very strong with, just a straight up push. What are we looking at over here?
It's a lot of Hags, Hypercell Gauss, with also a fair bit of ER large and large pulse. So it could be an aggressive push, but this looks more trade to me, but they are making a Kappa play.
Yeah. What is happening with Scrub Lord? Why are you so weak at, just kind of spread? It is a misling, so I was just wondering why it was a light green at 90%. That seems a little off. But yeah, looks like Aens is deciding to take the Kappa side of the map, and just in case there was a wall trader,
Yeah.
you know, because that's just not a strong position. So they are opting to split the map the other way, and maybe try to force a Theta fight. The rival here, though, Epic Poner getting away, kind of.
Yeah, there's a push coming. That Vapor Eagle's got mask.
Yeah.
It can run away. It's got a little
It
bit
is
of
gonna
support
need
from the
to.
Shadow Cat.
There's not a whole lot of support here. We're getting into, yeah, here we go. Merc J with the Overwatch support here. This is where Aens doesn't want to overextend.
Yeah. Almost 30% off of that Vapor Eagle already, though.
A lot of it internal. A lot of it internal.
Yeah.
Got a good back shot in there. I don't think Darksea Corsair saw that coming. But Aens continuing the aggressive mobility. Just around the outside of the map, keeping the trade up. Darksea Corsairs are going to have to match this rotation or get a little run over, I think. And as we see, here we go. They are moving to match that rotation. Aens taking points on the way. Nothing too worried about on the ticks at this point, though. But Aens keeping Darksea Corsairs on the run, which is lowering the effectiveness of their trades, having to move quite so much.
Now this Marauder over in the volcano, they've got some angles. There is some fire going out. I don't know if it's hitting or not, but there is low DPS here on Darksea Corsairs with their traders.
There he is.
So we'll see if that more pinpoint precise weaponry allows them to outtrade, or if they're going to end up being pushed here, which just the DPS difference could end up. I'm already seeing the damage start to accumulate here on the Timberwolf from Merc J.
Yeah, and look
open, but 70%.
Yeah, and Rick Rom taking some shots from that Marauder as well. So it seems the Marauder just looking at shutting down this corridor around the outside here, and being fairly successful at it. Lizzie, with the Depth Strike, what's happening over here? Oh, that's halved. That's rough. That's a lot of heat dissipation gone. So Darksea Corsair is doing well with the trade, but we're getting some light pack mix up over here by Theta, Texan Scrublord and the Mistlinks, pushing this right flank, really just kind of taking these spread out trade line against the Darksea Corsairs with honestly mixed.
Yeah, taking Theta Cap back, which it was a little bit of an overextension there, but I don't think the scouting intel was there, and Mistlinks took damage, but nothing's open.
Yeah, and this is Aens putting pressure.
Very damaged.
Yeah. Honestly, Darksea Corsairs making a very good showing against the very strong Aens traders. They are out trading right now, as far as I can tell. I'm seeing a lot of orange and even some red. Darksea Corsairs dropping a little bit ever since I said that. Things can develop rather quickly. But yeah, we've got our two trading lines here.
Is that mech halved?
Yeah, Lizzie is halved, and with the Hag and largely, I think it was Hag and large. That's so hot right now. Can still put out damage, but oh, I'm looking right at it. Yes, it is Hag and large. It's just going to be heat capped.
Yeah, Mech Warrior numbered over here is 67%. Nothing's open, but 67's not much armor remaining.
Yep. Royal Star plucking away at the left flank. Just trying to stay mobile. This game has slowed down from that Aens push. Well done, Darksea Corsair, swapping that around.
Yeah. It's 3 caps to 1 right now, though, as Sigma has been decapped. It looks like Salith in the Incubus went and decapped.
Yes.
So Darksea Corsairs is on a timer, but they're making a move for Gamma right now. And they're likely going to get that. There is a movement from Texan Scrublord and Zeos to go and contest that as they're anticipating that movement.
Yeah, a little bit. We're also getting Sigma here with Merc J and House. They are going to flop this around to a 3 cap on their end, really kind of move it around. But here we see Aens seeing a mech on Gamma, sending the wolf pack to go jump him. So let's go take a look at that, see what's happening over here.
3 coming in. Royal Star needs to start, just get a quick cap and get out.
And that actually he's going to get caught by Zeos here. This could be bad for Royal as he tries to escape. Let me take a look at the mini map. Looks like Aens is convalescing kind of around Theta here, switching around to the south side of the map. Royal Star getting away to back up.
But there's not much here. It's still an outnumbered fight, and that Vapor Eagle is heavily damaged. But the pursuit is cut off, so Royal Star's gotten out, but that cap is now being flipped again. So Darksea Corsair is back in the situation where they need to find a cap.
Yeah, and we're getting close. We're almost to 500 ticks here on Aben's side. This one definitely could come down to caps. Here we go. Some fight over Theta. Looks like Dark Sea Corsair is getting a little aggressive here with Indian and House going after Bowser in the Crusader, who's already lost an arm. But those heavy PCCs at this range will be devastating.
Yeah.
As we see Indian going down like
Rick Rom with the
14%.
Warhammer's looking at maybe peaking as well, but that mech is so heavily wounded.
Oh, he is one touch in the CT. That's going to be bad. Merc J going down on Dark Sea Corsairs. Where did that happen? Looks like Scout Derek in the Shadowhawk. 2K, what's happening on this one? Light PPCs and SRM build, just sneak it around to just take him out. So that is going to open up this left flank here for Aens as we see as we see Scout start to move. Royal trying to
Red Baron's
plug that hole. That's gonna be a problem.
Red Baron's been legged in that Evan Dragoon mistlings.
Ooh, that's gonna be rough there. For the Dark Sea Corsairs, Hollow moving up in that Marauder, looking to share some armor, maybe get some coverage
These
over here on the left flank.
So low.
Oh yeah, it has been a slugfest, and really could still kind of go either way. Zeos in that Huntsman though, absolutely fresh is going to be an issue. Rickrom finally going down. Someone licked his CT there, which is probably all the damage ahead. Yep, Red Baron just putting out the damage that he can, probably trying to pick Bowser a little bit. Bowser over here is down to one heavy PPC.
Texas Scrub Lord's getting picked off here.
Yep, Red Baron finally going down. Caliph coming around, Zeos coming around, Texas Scrub Lord. It is just, we're going.
This looks Dark Sea Corsairs to me. It's very close though.
I think Avens might have a bit of an armor advantage just with Scout and Zeos.
Yeah. Cap pressure's still on the Dark Sea Corsairs as well. I don't know. It's too close to call.
On Avens, I believe.
Hellspawn for Zeos is legged. It's down to 2 SRM6, probably out of ammo as well, be my guess. But they're holding on to that Theta cap. Or trying to get it back.
Yep, I have Azovsky holding on. Hollow still very fresh. Let's see here. How's Mech Warrior numbers going in this blood
down to a
ass?
single heavy PPC.
Oh yeah, add one touch on that shoulder. Bull shoulders open up on Mech Warrior. Let's check our, it looks like Caliph. Nope, I thought he was legged there for a second. Just moving slow. CT open. Bowser, they're pushing around. They pick Ivazovsky.
Theta's decapped.
Theta is decapped. This is turning in favor of Avens as Hollow takes a good burn, but there goes Bowser.
Moved up onto Theta, but they are now getting jumped from behind by Salith in that Incubus.
Yep, just getting the closing kills here. Royal Star going to go down here in a minute. No, he's going after Hollow instead.
Looks like Dark Sea Corsairs on the caps. They probably don't have enough mechs alive, even if they won the fight here. I think they wouldn't be able to get the caps. So this is actually gone the way of Avens here. I thought Dark Sea Corsairs maybe had it there, but in the end here, these mechs, when they are all crit out like that, Avens has found the way. Veteran players with high skill level, just keeping those low percentage mechs alive and playing it out quite well.
What's happening over here with House? House legged? House is legged. Yep.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, so not leg, just moving really slow. Oh, and there's the point. They
make a play 4 caps, so it makes sense that they're out there trying to do something. But
very close match. It is, we're looking at 5-1 surviving, but look at those percentages. That was a very close match, a very good showing by the Dark Sea Corsairs on that that trade strat. There we go. Words. All right, here we go. Looking at the scores, no one's really standing out. Mech Warrior numbers with the 505, Bowser with the 420. Just kind of chilling there. Those, I guess, would be our 2 outstanding folks. But if we look at those percentages and where they're at, a little more focus fire on DSC could have helped. But again, we're looking at folks who know how to spread that damage.
These were the damage totals of the day so far, with it being a little bit more of a slow trading match. Players are able to rack up. 700 damage is, I think, higher than anything we saw in the previous matchup earlier today. Good damage spreads from just about everyone here. The mislinks may be a little bit lower from both players, but that's a little bit to be expected. They were skirmishing around the caps and trying to go and get cap points as well. They just don't have a lot of armor on that mech.
Yep, there's only so much you can do in a mislinks. It can be absolutely pivotal. It's a fantastic mech, but you can't expect 900 damage from a mislinks. There's just not enough ammo.
it can get the big damage in a brawl situation where it's not necessarily being focused, but in a skirmishing situation, you don't see damage numbers out of a Mistlinks.
Yep. Oh, actually, we should talk about Hibernal first before I move us on. Heading on over to the map room. Really, this is kind of what we saw here. Very similar. We saw some a general rotation around as well, but a heavier Kappa push than I was expecting. Dark Sea Corsairs just taking the left side.
Aens, and they kept going after the Kappa push as well. They even decapped Sigma, which is a cap that when you've got a volcano mech, the Sigma should be out of limits, but somebody's got to call it out.
Yep.
And it was mostly just skirmishing around Theta. Just the big thing is that Aens was playing the back ridge line near Kappa heavier than what I was anticipating. They did not play on the Epsilon side whatsoever.
Yep, and there was a lot of pressure. Let's see, where would that have been? Kind of over here on this Bravo 3 Hill-ish area from Aens as well, which would have been taking the attention of the Marauder on Volcano and Hollow there. Shooting across, getting those shots, getting good shots on Rick Rob there. Just nice CT groupings. We took a look there on my side. And that would certainly just allow a light mech to sneak over to Sigma while Hollow's being, traded with.
And that's something here that I think Dark Sea Corsairs with this drop, they kind of demonstrated that they can hang with Aens at the trade play style. I mean, they did have builds that maybe favored trading, the type of trading that was going on a little bit more than what Aens brought with the Hags versus the Goss Peeps that we were seeing out of Dark Sea Corsairs, but they were not losing on the trades. It was more kind of in the skirmishing fights where the armor differences started to come out, and also being pulled around at the caps. The Aens was maybe playing the caps a little bit better than Dark Sea Corsairs was. Yeah,
Dark Sea Corsairs definitely on the defensive on the caps the whole time, which actually made Royal Star have to go cap things. He was firing on a flank. It's like, oh wait, I actually have to cap because this is becoming an issue now. So Aens just playing a more holistic game. They were playing both caps and the trade. And I think the caps upset the trade, which is the whole point on a small map of playing the caps at all, is to just force them to take mechs out of the fight, which they did very well. And speaking of small maps, moving on to Vitric Station, which is our next fight here.
Yeah,
with even on team 1, that'll be the left side on your screen here.
And again, just kind of basic game plan: get top, move toward the middle, either push it or don't push it. That's
we should have a Vitric Station like sticker in the MWO column here. That's just these lines here. The awkward drawing phase. Team 1 is locked. Moving on to team 2. But yeah, it's good solid game plan. These teams could go either way. This might be one where I think we would see Dark Seas Corsair maybe try to push into Aens here. I believe Aens was distributed more evenly around the outside last week on this map. Which is, versus EQ concentrated on one side, right? So we saw KDCM having to push to one side. Same thing last week. The team decided to push over. Dark Sea Corsairs decided to push over onto the one side, which was their downfall on this. But if you've got a team that's distributed across both sides of, I guess, the Citadel, we never really talked about that one, but the team 1 Citadel here, then you've got half a team cut off, right? While you focus one side, that's where the pushes are really going to work.
So from what we can see. I think I agree with you on that I think Dark Sea Corsairs will probably make the push here, because I think if I were Dark Sea Corsairs, I would be questioning my ability to play this out as like a ranged trade type setup against another ranged trade from Aens with just how strong Aens is in that skirmishing type playstyle, like low ground flankers or something of that nature. As Dark Sea Corsairs, I wouldn't want to take my chances on that, and I would want to just push. As opposed to getting whittled down by just Aens player individual skills, and then like the weird stuff that they might be playing on those side flanks. I don't know. I think I'd rather just push it, but that's maybe just my Div C mentality. I don't know how Dark Sea Corsairs would feel about it.
I mean, they had a very good showing trading against Aens that last time, but like you said, it's that light mech shenanigans, which actually, thinking about it, this mech is a little pinched in the middle. You know, I guess it's a diverted pinch because we've got a little outcropping here, but who cares about that? Like they can be much easier contained from the Overwatch on either side here. So we're looking at a little more control than Hibernal, where the lights just have so much room to roll. So given that they traded so well, I would like to see trade, honestly, from DSC against here. I think a push is going to be well received, depending on where it's set up. I mean, we did talk about where the weaknesses are, but that's not necessarily going to mean it's successful. It just means the chances are better. And Aens is a very flexible unit. They're very mobile units, so they'll adapt to that. I don't think that would necessarily be an issue for Aens. I think they'll come out on top against a push here. I think DSC could trade. Yeah,
but I still think if I was Dark Sea Corsairs, I think I would still push, even though I think it's maybe a 45-55, not a 50-50. But I don't know. It'd be so annoying to deal with all this kind of harassment stuff from the sides. Maybe that's just a loser mentality of not wanting to deal with annoying stuff, and so we'll just push them and hope we win. You know.
Well, but no, there's something to it, because if you let Aven sit, they will move. You know, they will take that spot if you give them the option. But there are, you know, likewise, you can get the trading like we saw sort of around this green area. Was it last week or was it? It was in the knockout round, I think. We saw a little bit of skirmishing around here in Charlie 4. One team pushed into Charlie 4, but they had the Overwatch from the top spot. So it didn't end up working out very well for them. So it's all about that Overwatch if you're going to deal with shenanigans. But Avens being very talented and picking holes. But after a very close match last time, I'm excited to see what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and get us launched so that we can see what's going to happen over here in Vitric Forge.
Yeah, we got 480 tons out of both teams as expected. Nothing fishy or funny.
Yeah, it was so close. Like the death numbers look so different. But that's just because they're at some point, especially if you're trading, there's going to be sort of a critical damage limit, which interestingly is a concept I was introduced to as a youngin from one of the Battletech books, one of the Grey Death Legion ones. And he's talking about, at some point you lose a mech here, no big deal. But then it's like an 8v7 kind of a situation, right? Yeah. So everyone's more hard pressed. Then you lose another mech and it just snowballs. And that's what happened. Like everyone's mechs were so weak except for that Shadowhawk. That it was just a matter of, you get one picked, then that steamroll happens so fast in that situation, where otherwise it wouldn't. All right. We're coming in here. Dark Sea Corsairs. I'm looking at a Nightstar, a Mad Cat, a Hunchback. Let's see what we're looking at here. Hags. Looks like we're looking at Hags and Daka. Let's see here. Shard with the machine guns. Take a look at the Crusader and the Cyclops. Those are interesting. 2 peeps on the Crusader ERs, obviously, and light PPC AC5. Yeah, so Dark Sea Corsairs with the Daka deck. Very versatile on this map, very viable.
So I'm seeing, as expected from Aben, some stuff that I wouldn't consider to be meta. They've got bracket builds on their Stalker with SRMs and heavy PPCs. They've done similar things in some of their other mechs. The Yager mech S6S here with 4 AC5s, that is a dedicated receive mech. Cooldown quirks on that thing. It's very slow, very fragile, but the DPS it has is monster. You do not want to push into that type of a mech.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing. I'm seeing a lot of heavy PPCs, which are just a lot of, pop up and do, what is it, like 50 damage? I don't run them all that often anymore, but it's a lot for just 2 weapons.
30 pinpoint damage.
30 pinpoint. Sorry. Wait. For heavy peeps? Are they 15?
Yeah, 15 a piece, so 30 for 2 of them, yeah.
But ERs are 15. I'll have to go and look at that.
Inner Sphere ER are only 10.
Okay, that might be the difference.
Splash. So
either way, we're looking at Zeos taking a big hit in the back, interestingly enough. As they're testing the right side flank here, just corralling them over to the left side of their fight zone, where Scout Derek and Texas Scrub Lord are going to be waiting for him. We're seeing Zeos in the Huntsman drop. I don't think there's quite enough jets. Like he can barely. It's not going to be a quick climb there.
We have a fight in the bottom here. Salith is up against the Arctic Cheetah from House. and it looks like Salith is actually losing that fight, bailing out. Arctic Cheetah head is open, but that's not a big concern there. Probably wasn't running full armor anyways.
Yeah, so we are looking at... Yeah, just trying to see how things are developing over here. Looks like Aens are mostly trying to harass the south side of the map with their traders, just kind of like hanging out here doing some... I'll begin to... We'll have to take a look at Rick Rom's thing. You might have caught Lizzie a little bit there with a fight, with a shot, or it went into the wall. Not sure. Mech Warrior numbers with those heavy PPCs at range. That's not going to be doing a whole lot of damage there.
So both teams contended just sit on 2 caps. They are trading across a little bit. Merc looks like they're going to peek. Oh.
Yeah, and it looks like Aens...
They're getting away with it, kind of. Now they're open center torso. 63% there on their Night Star.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a big change. Otherwise, they was looking like they were winning their trades there. That's that's a one-touch. Merc is...
Yeah, that was an ill-advised poke in my mind, and they got away with it way better than I was anticipating. Which is to say it did not go well. Yeah. We've got heavy play on the bottom here from both sides with their lights and mediums kind of skirmishing around that Theta cap, but it's just 2 caps to 2 right now. And I think Darksea Corsairs can't keep peeking over the center, but they do need to... It feels to me like they need to do something. I don't know what that is, but
not entirely sure. They're mostly winning their trades. So we're looking at Merc at 61, Hollow going down to 61 as well. So taking some hits there. But looking at the other side, we've got Rick Rom in that Jaeger mech. Let me go see what's going on there, because that could be very problematic if that mech goes down, like you said, almost halved. So that would be significant. But here we go. We're looking at this light fight. Salith versus Scout Derek. It's a 3-on-2. Texan Scrub Lord Bowser dropping down to support those, but not before Salith goes down. Royal Star also going down.
But they're now protected against the wall. Texan Scrub Lord's coming in fresh. House needs to get out at this point, I do believe.
Red Baron just getting sniped out of the air. A little duck hunt movement in the CT there. Scrub Lord House.
Gone in way too deep. They're not going to be coming out of this.
Merc J
whether or not they can get a leg or something before they go down.
Yeah, Merc J open house, just trying to stay alive here on the 1v3. Gonna be going down a little bit. Rick Rom pushing up, so Aens just taking it and running with it. That being said, it is not as close as I was about to say it was, because some folks just went down. But we've got Indian with the Crusader at 43%, legged, going down to Texas Scrub Lord Scout and Rick Rom and Bowser, everyone around there.
The mech is halved, open center torso.
What is Poner doing? Poner's just looking for shots with the Hag, trying to keep them at range. I don't know that much is going to be able to be done here.
If a Crusader wasn't there, I'd think there was a chance, but that Crusader's still got, a fair bit of armor remaining, or, well, structure perhaps. The Hunchback's going to be going down here shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. And there it is. There's the Hunchback, and then it's just a matter of snagging an extra cap, and we'll be good to go.
Percentage is very low on the survivors here, though.
Yeah, I think it's, again, another match that is closer than it looks, but ultimately, only so much to be done.
That light fight on the side, Scout Derek was getting opened up in the back, but they managed to get their back against the wall. If that had not been the situation, if it had been maybe a bit more in the open or something of that nature, and the Hellfire gone down, maybe that light fight could have gone differently, but it took a little bit too long for some of those mechs to go down.
Yeah, Poner in the Hunchback pulling 705 damage though, which is earlier today we had an 800. So not quite the most, but definitely a good amount of damage. That'll be spread around because of the Hags, of course, but that's what we're looking at. Red Baron in the Mistlinks at 195, matching up with Zeus and the Huntsman at 170 for the lowest on the team. So that is actually a fairly nice damage spread on DSC, but Aens just being able to make that focus fire work just a little bit more. So, like you said, closer match. Than it looks.
Yeah, that Hunchback 2cc putting out 700 damage with a dual Hag 30, that is something that I wasn't aware you could put 2 Hag 30s on a Hunchback 2C. I was thinking, you'd max out with a pair of Hag 20s or something of that nature, but that is another new build right now, and that is a top performer there for Darksea Corsairs, going in, finding out these new builds and displaying them here for us to look at. something I should look into copying.
Yeah. I think I'm going to send us over to the map room, and along those lines, make sure that you take a look at these builds and try to copy them, because it is worth it. These guys do a lot of thinking in this in terms of where the mech fits and what it's good at, and using quirks and just sort of that min-maxing. Quite frankly, this is the map that we're seeing here on Vitric is pretty much what we saw. The only difference really is that we saw at the end of it, after all the trading, just a general push around the south side of the map here.
There was a lot of low ground skirmishing to begin with. Both teams had multiple lights on the bottom for the majority of that fight, just denying Theta, trying to take it for themselves. So it played out a little bit different than what I was anticipating. Maybe I should have, suspected that there would be more light play. I was expecting the side flankers, but I was expecting side flankers with range, not side flankers with machine guns and small lasers. And
ultimately, it was a fight underneath like Theta. So I think ultimately the lines, more or less are enough. At that point, it's just we had some fights on top and we had some fights on bottom. It was pretty much evenly spread and countered, which I think is interesting. But the mechs that were fighting had the jets to get up fast. So I don't think it was one of those situations where it's like, hey, some of the mechs are down, let's push. Because those mechs would have been up in the next 5 seconds and in your back. So I think both teams played it correct in the counters, just Aens with some more focused fire. Frankly, we saw like Merc J getting that CT just chewed out instantly. I'm not going to say taking them out of the fight, but having to be a lot more conservative, since, if they look at you the wrong way, you're dead, and then your weapons are off the field. And well played by Merc J for staying along as long as they did. But this is ultimately what we saw here. I'm going to move us on to Polar. We've talked a lot about Polar. Actually, we've talked a lot about all of these maps. But even sitting at Team 1, man, I don't know ultimately what they're going to do. I see your brown circle coming up, but I think we're going to see from Aens probably a Cap mech here going down to Kappa. Sure. I don't know where they're going to go from there. It's going to depend on the rest, because ultimately they could probably push around to the bottom. That's where they have the easy access. And ultimately just take up trading positions along the way. I don't think, especially given the way that DSC has been trading so far, rather than pushing, I don't think we're going to see that receive line coming up along the 6 line. We might see a brief development there as they catch things out, but I think things will be scouted well before then. And then from Dark Sea Corsairs, if they're going to trade, I think they're going to end up taking the Gamma position here. Much like we saw in our previous match today, I think we're going to go Gamma, and then we're going to see maybe this rotation develop, especially with Aens if DSC responds to that. We'll see how that goes, but in general, I think we're going to see again more trading play here with some light fights. I want to see a Theta scrap at some point for sure.
Did you call for a NASCAR?
I guess it is
both teams
more
going to the right, and you said, "Well, there's going to do some rotations."
Oh, I think so, especially because I think so. Ultimately, I think it's going to be a lot more, dare I say, coordinated than a NASCAR, because while that rotation is there, there's a difference between a NASCAR and a flank. Whereas NASCAR is, your lights and your faster movers get out ahead of your bigs, and then we just got that rotation. I think we're going to see much more of Aens are going to try to flank with their lights, and DSC is going to be forced to respond by moving along. And we're going to see it's not going to be one team trying to catch the other. It's going to be trading across the center the whole way.
I mean, I don't know. I've seen so many teams that they're doing these rotations and they leave their bigs behind because of the cover, the terrain around Theta that just isn't favorable for the assaults to keep up.
Well,
and I have seen NASCARs where the lights have left the assaults behind.
Oh, for sure, but
I've
the assaults aren't
multiple times, even at higher level on this map. And I honestly, maybe not. The one thing is that NASCAR is a continuous flanking movement without stopping, whereas in competitive, these teams, they might not continuously be moving. They might rotate and then stop, but I have seen teams sacrifice their assaults to take out the opponent's assaults. That is something that currently is going on. Maybe not with these teams, but in competitive right now, even at the highest levels, is a trade that teams are willing to make.
Yeah, and
It's
there
an
is
intentional
calls
trade
for it.
though,
Yeah.
unlike quick play. It's intentional, but
that is a big difference. And the other thing is, even though they leave their assaults are actively trading across from each other, and that's the difference.
Sure.
They're not trying to keep up and losing that damage. Like, it is a concentrated effort to do it, and it's just such a big difference. Even though maybe at its heart it's NASCAR by the broadest definition.
I mean, I've seen where the assaults got left out and they weren't really able to trade, and they just go down so fast.
Oh well, exactly. That's bad.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. It could be a NASCAR. It could be a NASCAR. I'm not going to call for a NASCAR, but I will call it out if I see it.
I think it's rotation and not a NASCAR due to nuanced definitions is what we're going to see.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be slow. It's going to be methodical. We're going to see some pauses over here at the middle, and either the lights are going to turn because these lights are going to be flanking, or these lights are going to flank. Like, the aggression is going to come at the sides, but ultimately it's going to be focused, I think, around this north-south trade. And maybe a little bit of maybe like a 15-degree angle to the other side. But I think that is sort of where it stops until one team gets an advantage, and then they're just like full pushing. You know what I mean? Just to close it. That is where it's different than an NASCAR. But I do expect the rotation here. Although, if Darksea Corsairs were thinking, I mean, not that they're not thinking, but if they're, thinking 4 steps ahead, I think every match we've seen so far, team 1, has taken the south side of the map. If Darksea Corsairs were to call for a push on this lower side, they could definitely keep them off guard. But I think even scouting is going to catch them really early. Not the through theta that we saw that we often see, but the move it around south to try to catch them.
All of these teams in the Invitationals, they do scout quite well. That is something that maybe separates these teams from the Div B, Div C teams. The scouting, you're going to get spotted. The lights know what they're doing. They're finding that angle. They're finding that information, and they are communicating it.
It's particularly the C's. Like B's, you're going to get a mix. You're getting some of those teams that are scouting out. And it's, I think if we're talking divisions through the regular season times, our Division B's are going to be the people that have figured out the scouting. It's a matter of timing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get the scout and people are like, I need to get to my position. It's like, no, you need to be responding to the push that's coming. And then they get strung out and, kill one by one because of that lack of response more than the lack of scout. Div C is where I start to see teams developing their UAV use and developing that scout a lot. So I think you're onto something there, because the scouting is so important. And you're going to see Vipers and Mistlings here with the big jump jets, because sensors only go so far, especially on some of the larger maps. Even on some of the smaller maps, you get the jump up, you can spot like, hey, I see a dragon here. That's probably not going to be a trade, so let's get ready for the push. And that is all the information you need sometimes to call a push. And I have been in matches where I have called for a push within the first 7 seconds of a game. Because something just, one mech stands out and it's just like, this is absolutely what's going to go. My team developed where they needed to receive it. And then it was so quick. And that's what we see on Div A teams, except both teams have it. So it's a little more back and forth. So we'll look for that. Going into this one, I'm going to go ahead and get us launched.
Great. And both teams are at 480 tons. So, no cap strat coming out here, I don't think. Not with those tonnages.
Probably one light can make a cap strap on this map.
That's true. That's fair.
So
yeah,
it's
Incubus
hard to
or
tell.
Spider just running for caps.
Yep.
Or even a commando.
Yeah, and everyone else just try to stay alive as much as they can. I could see it. I think Aens is going to have more of that versatile play. I expect I think Stimrog's been running a lot of the Cappy Light kind of stuff. Maybe running a Spider, or what else was he playing earlier? Not the Mistlings. Maybe the Mistlings. We'll see what we end up with here as we come in. What is Stim's not in this one. Okay. So I'm over here with the Darksea Corsairs, looking at a Hellfire, a Crusader, Exy Timber, Shadowcat, Incubus, and Beagle. Incubus on the left side, so I think Incubus heading to Kappa. Before we see the movement here, ER Peeps on the Crusader, Hellfire with Hag 30 and mediums, Exy with some large, Timber with large and a hag. Interesting. What else did I want to see? That's probably about it. Everything else should be standard. What do we got over on the Aben side?
So we've got some trade out of the Night Gear triple ER large and a pair of Gauss Stalkers 6 ER large. So this is dedicated trade on a couple of the bigs. ERPBC, 2 of them on the Executioner with red laser backup. Hellfire is a regular Gauss with 2 heavy large and 3 ER meads. So that is a relatively slow moving flanker with trade, I would say. But they do have a wolf pack as well with kitchen sink build on the Black Lantern, has SRMs and all the lasers, machine guns, everything else you could wish for. Light BBCs on the fire starter, so a bit of a skirmisher. The Incubus is got flamers with SRMs and machine guns. So I don't know what's with the flamers on this map, but it'd be interesting to see if that works out.
Real quick, over the past couple seconds. Sorry, I'm going to jump in real quick just because it's a timely thing.
Yeah.
Look at the distribution and the way that Aben's spread themselves out to cover and get eyes on every single one of these maps. Talking about the scouting, that's exactly what's happened. We saw the wolf pack spread out at once versus the Dark Sea Corsairs, who are largely lumped together, pushing into Theta with just a couple of cappers heading to Theta. Aben's with a much better view of what's happening in this match right now. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so I'm just seeing a lot of trade though with Aben's. So they're probably going to be a little bit stationary. Like the Stalker cannot, sprint anywhere whatsoever. So that's going to be almost a turret, likely going out to Gamma, probably taking that high ground position.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially since Dark Sea Corsair is basically, well, actually, no, it was Aben's to take up here Dark Sea Corsair should have taken Gamma. They didn't, so I think Aben's is going to look to develop that as a very strong position there.
Stalker up on that high ground. Very, very nice terrain. I love playing up there. With the Stalker.
Looks like Dark Sea Corsair is looking to, well, they got a full cap on Theta, so they're looking to essentially make this a little cap game. They took Kappa early. Looks like Aben's sending a response down there to Kappa to relieve some of that. Fire Ant and House here. I don't think they quite know.
We have a fight.
Ooh, they do. They gotta get out of there. They should not take this fight. I don't think they know how many. I think they think it's just 1 or 2
this
at
is
this
the play
point.
here for Aben's to try and control both side caps. They've got their high weighted anchor mechs going up onto the Gamma high ground, and then they're trying to use their 5-pack here essentially to control both Epsilon and then Kappa, which that leaves them vulnerable to a push if that were to occur.
Yeah, and Aben's right now getting the surround on Dark Sea Corsairs. I'm going to call this for Aben's right now unless something drastic happens. Just because if you look at these lines, Dark Sea Corsairs looking to challenge Gamma, but ultimately Aben's kind of getting the surround here. With Hollow and Poner going for Gamma, I think we're going to see a weakness here. Aben's going to push this, well, for them, the right flank. That'd be the Kappa flank here.
And we have the Timberwolf flanking here, though. If they get a rear shot,
yeah, like I said, unless something drastic happens.
It's a Hag 20, 2 ER large, 5 ER mead. They announced their presence, though. They didn't get a back shot. Rick Rom took some damage and turned. So the Timberwolf has been spotted. It's backed up by the Vapor Eagle, but the lights are not here for this play.
Yep.
This is not the fight that Dark Sea Corsairs is looking for.
And Hollow paying for it with some of that Aben's focus fire. We got mostly the CT, but it's close on that right shoulder.
Yeah, now the Shadowcat's arriving, backed up by the Hellfire. So that will dislodge.
Yep, immediately they recognize what's happened. They're starting to pull back. Mech Warrior numbers pulling back.
J-Kite is open on the head.
Yeah,
it
could make a difference if they get nicked.
There. It would take another good hit there, not just a scratch damage.
Yeah, and here we go. Dark Sea Corsairs making this push on the right side. Called in the backups and are just putting Aben's a bit on the back foot. Aben's responding. So here we, again, not a whole lot of that rotation happening, but Aben's is going to be holding some ground that they, I think, were not intending to.
Kappa's being flipped.
Yeah, meanwhile, I was just going to head over here with Scout Derek taking some Kappa. I think Ivazovsky in the Exy is just kind of tucked down here, not shooting anything. That's a lot of weight and a lot of guns out of the fight there for a little bit, which Aben's will
on Theta, but they
probably see to advantage. Someone just took a big old hit here. Red Baron caught out a little bit in the open with the Aben traders. Indian with the self-destruct there on the Crusader. That overheat Red Baron now halved. Yeah, taking Red Baron out, getting those shots, and now EQ is going to turn this momentum around. Or not EQ, Aens is going to turn this momentum around and just push right into them. Oh, okay.
They overheated, perhaps. They were okay. Maybe the Flamers caused an overheat there. They were not moving for a little bit.
Yeah. Let's see here. Hollow going down in that timber. As Aens are going to come after Merkjay and the Hellfire, who's just stuck up on top here against whatever is left. So yeah, Aens seizing opportunity as soon as they created that, dumping that damage into Red Baron, falling back in order to get some shots. So take a look at where Aens received that gamma. That's going to be important for anybody looking for spots. Let's see, out here we've got Zeos, and well, they were against Ivazovsky. Epic Poder coming in here with the rival. Not going to be able to do a whole heck of a lot. They're going for legs, taking the PPC arm off.
That was 3 different 3v1 or 2v1s that occurred there.
Yeah.
Instead of a 3v2, it was the support just wasn't there when it needed to be there.
Yep. All right, where did Fireant end up? Oh, here we go. Fireant is off on off around the outside. Yep.
There was a 4 cap for a bit there, but not long enough to really. I don't think it's gonna be able to pull this back. There's too many mechs alive still for Aens. They'll be able to spread, and this Incubus trying to do some work here with the caps. It's gonna be close, but not that close.
Yep. Still pretty fresh, so depending on who shows up, there might be a pick or two in the works. But I think you said that Incubus, if I recall, was legged, so that's a
I think it's still a 3 cap situation. I don't think 2 caps is enough for Darksea Corsairs. So
not with this many mechs.
If it was a 2 caps were enough, then there's still a chance, but not. The caps are too close right now. Still.
Yeah, and
another.
Yeah, Aens is going to take Kappa here. So it's going to be a 1 cap situation. It's not going to be enough. This is definitely in favor of Aens here.
And 2 caps is the most that this Incubus could ever hope for with how spread out the map was, but they'd have to get a couple of picks. It's just not going to happen.
Let's see. Scout Derek injured enough? Ooh, Scout Derek could be injured enough for Fire Ant to take a look at, but doesn't know that he's there.
Yeah.
Turns around. Fire Ant losing an arm there, getting in the fight. The Hag coming into play, as we can hear. Scout Derek. There it is. Yeah, there's the kill. Let's see. What's Mech Warrior got? Let's bring it on to the next. It's
Executioner, but
the side torso. That's not going to be enough.
Structure and armor to chew through.
Yeah, if it was an open. Ooh, just shut down. That's a headshot.
Wow.
Mech Warrior with the sit down. I wish that would be a moment for Star Wolf's Warhorn from 2021. But here's the damages for you on stream. I'm going to get to the more detailed stuff here momentarily, but that is our 3rd matchup. Last one. Gonna take a quick look to check stuff out. Yeah, we're still catching up here. All right, hopping out. I'm gonna send my folks over to the scoreboard. We'll give you guys a couple seconds to take a look at that, and then we'll head out into the map room.
Okay, we're switching team sides, so I switched the overlay quickly there. I'm going to run through the damages here. So actually relatively low damage there from Darksea Corsairs based off of what I was seeing. I was kind of thinking the damage numbers would be a little bit higher, but they kind of ended up getting pushed there, and it was a number of uneven fights, so they didn't manage to return the damage there. Top damage out of Mech Warrior with numbers in that Executioner. Scout Derek in the Shadowcat ended up going down, but put out some tremendous damage before doing so. Well, maybe not tremendous, but 500 is quite reasonable, and good enough for second in the match. It kind of came down to cap plays a fair bit. I mean, it was kills in the end, but it was the caps that were pulling Darksea Corsairs around, and they tried to take advantage of a push there on a side flank where there was a potential vulnerability, but the timings weren't there, the mechs weren't in position, and ultimately they got counter pushed, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, I'm just going to illustrate real quick what happened. What Aens did here, because they got pushed on Gamma, which actually I'm just going to leave that red arrow there because that is where. Oh, hang on. Let's head on over the map here real quick. Vitric. So that red arrow is basically where that push came from. It was actually a little closer to Hotel 10, but I'm just going to leave it there. What Aens did was they pulled their folks off of Gamma this way, right? And they set up essentially a little receive line, like kind of here, which allowed them to just focus their fire onto Gamma. Let me get the straight line going here. Just onto Gamma here from a number of different angles, and that's where they kind of that's where DSC fell into it. Is they decided to push that advantage, which isn't necessarily the worst thing, but they essentially fell into a firing line. So it was that's where Avon's stroke of genius was. And then once the Gamma folks got weak, there was a counter push into that Gamma area and around it, and into this Gamma 8, Gamma 9 area. Yeah, there's the purple of where the Darksea Corsairs ended up.
Yeah, I'd say the key there was that when the Timberwolf opened fire, which I think was undetected, it did not have support to prevent being counter-pushed. And if there had been a higher number of mechs there before the Timberwolf took its first shot, then maybe there was a chance of getting the kills at Gamma that were needed. I mean, if Darksea Corsairs had 4 mechs at that initial Gamma fight and picks up 2 kills there, that changes the entire game. And it just wasn't, I don't know. I even on the spectator, it's hard to know where everyone was at the time, if they were close enough to have made that move or if they were just otherwise occupied elsewhere. It felt like the timing was off. Not that the strat or the play was poor, just that the timing wasn't quite there.
Yep, I would agree with that. Oh, hang on, something's funky with the stream. Hang on.
Is mine still up?
I am showing buffering on my end. Let me see if anything's going down. I'm still seeing ads. So, okay, no, I see it. That was just something on my end. Whew, all heart attack. We were good for for so long. Okay, no, we're good. We're fine.
Yeah. All right, good. Always paranoid. You never know. What's going on everywhere. Okay, we're moving on to Mining Collective. So let's
let me where's the map here? There is Mining Collective. Yeah, here we go. Both these teams looking to trade so far, which I appreciate. If Darksea Corsairs continue to decide to trade, I think we're going to see some interesting stuff. I don't expect a team to get stuck in the low ground like we've seen so many times here. We've got our usual dead zones around Delta 4 Echo here. And Echo 4, because of the high grounds around them, expect trades with that. You could see it split north-south. There's also cause to split it on the side. We'll just see which team's Wolfpack is aggressive. I would like to see some play on this, some trade play. We've seen a lot of pushes on mining. Yeah. It's a very pushable map. It makes a lot of sense. I think the trade play on mining is interesting in terms of where people put themselves, where these power positions is, and then it comes down to, it's a bias. I'm just going to be honest. It's a bias because then it becomes Wolfpack play. It is Wolfpack on Wolfpack, and just it's a giant game of chess. And I love it for that. So.
Yeah, Mining Collective can be quite interesting when the teams are playing a little bit more not push, and then just the rotations that occur on this map, trying to control the side flanks with the Wolfpack. It can be quite a good match to watch if it develops in that direction. Not that I don't like watching pushes either. Might see something like a catapult with the SRMs pulled out here as something that could be more aggressive. But we'll see what these teams go for.
Yeah, they can honestly go for either. We've seen Darksea Corsairs try to push, but we've seen them trade a lot today. And to that point, trade with effect. That movement, those mistakes on Polar are what got them. But on Hibernal and on Vitric, we saw them trading and really just going toe-to-toe with Aens. Aens just marginally staying ahead of them to close it at the end, right? Polar are very different because they tried a little push there that didn't work. Aens responded perfectly. So we could see it. I would love to see these. I'm enjoying seeing these teams trade toe to toe. It's a little bit slower of a cast. It's harder for me to get excited because to sustain that over the whole trading match is tough, and I know they can be a little lower energy, although higher energy weapons, but that's a different question.
We've seen the
It's fun.
occasional headshot here, you know.
Oh
Just
yeah,
need
we've
to-
seen a lot of
It's hard
headshots.
to catch them though. Like you don't get a notification or anything. You have to check how the mech went
Yeah.
down. But
We've seen
we've
3
seen a
today,
couple of headshots today. Yeah,
which is a lot. Over what amounts to 10 matches, 3 headshots is actually quite a bit.
yeah, and there could be more yet.
Yeah.
One thing I'm going to point out here, Team 2, which is the Aens side, they could put something in the dark here behind the Charlie spawn, up in that dark area with Goss or something, and then because they have access to Theta Overwatch here with the way that this map is done, it's not symmetrical. The one team has a barrier blocking their sight of Theta from their spawns, whereas the other team does not. So there is an option here. I don't know if Aens is going to go for it or not. If they do go for more stationary play, they could park something in the back and control Theta through there. There
is a little bit of play, but it's up to the lights to hold Theta from Team 1. It's a shift of responsibility because there are some like little corners here that you can at least deny Theta if you get in there, are able to get there quick. But if they put traders over here, Echo 7, it's going to be real. You can't get it back. It doesn't matter. You have to deny it on Team 1.
Yeah,
if you're going to bother with caps.
A lot easier for the Team 2 side on this map for that Theta play if they're electing to play range, which I don't know that I'm smelling range whatsoever, but it'd be interesting to see someone pull that out playing in the dark there with I don't know, a Direwolf or something of that nature.
Yeah. You'd need a 5 JDX skilled wolf pack though. That's the thing. Like you need something that is just, because it is going to be down to the wolf pack play at that point for the hold, so you need to be able to rely on them as traders. So it all depends on your team, what it comes down to. But we'll see. Team 2 stretching the timer a little bit. I'm going to give them a 1-minute warning since we've been having a good conversation about mining here. So putting that out.
So again, just
now,
anyone who's new to mining, you've got these side positions that teams generally try to play for instead of going in up on Theta quick play style. So see how these teams go. I mean, you need jump jets if you're going to brawl on this map, just because the range mechs have these elevated positions that they can play from.
And as we saw in the last one, KDCM getting stuck here either because of disconnect or just waiting for the right time. Or were they on this side? Either way, they were in one of these death zones underneath. It was the Echo 4 side. That's right. And they were just like stuck there, ended up having to rotate around, but just getting picked apart by the high ground.
Yeah. High ground is very powerful on this map. On most maps, but on this map in particular, it's for me is I wouldn't take a brawler that doesn't have jump jets. It's a hard line for me.
Yeah. Just gonna note a thing for refs there were some unreadies on the point of Aben after locked. I didn't see any movement on that, but just putting in a documentation here that a couple people went unready. Could have been because of a tab out, but I don't know. We'll see if any team wants to call on that. But in any case, we're off to our match. Off we go for the 4th in this series. We did switch the scoreboard, right?
Tonnage. I caught the tonnage there. It was 465 on Team 2, which is Aben's. So it's 480 for the Team 1 side there with Darksea Corsairs. The Team 2 side, Aben's, was 465.
Yeah, that might be indicative of a push needing that speed. That's a good call out there.
Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. When it's 15 tons, then I start to suspect that something's going on.
Yeah. 10 is borderline, 5 is whatever, 15 is But yeah, I'm looking at both teams spread out across all 3 drop ships. So that does matter. We'll see how that develops. I'm over here by Aben's. Let's take a look here. We've got ourselves a Shadowcat, an Incubus on the south side of the map, good for scouting. Huntsman, an Executioner, probably. Huntsman is SRMs. ERM's a large high alpha, Hunchback. ER Peeps on the XE. Are we looking at a Direwolf? I don't think we've seen a Direwolf yet in this series.
Nope. We have not.
With 2 Hag 20 and 5 ER large. I like that build. I'm gonna have to try that one out. But yeah, it looks like we've got a mix. It's gonna be toasty, but if you're at range, you can pick things apart pretty decently.
I suspect that I question that build. I'm going to question it. I'm not as skilled player as whoever's playing it, but you can't just swap Hags for Goss. There is a heat component there. Darkseid Corsairs,
anyway.
they've got a lot of ERPPC. They are playing trade. Executioner is triple ERPPC, so that is a trade variant, not a mid-range hybrid build. Of course, the Crusader is ERPPC. Vapor Eagle is running, obviously it's the rival, it's going to be ERP. And then it was heavy large on the Shadowcat. But again, when we're looking at the Mad Cat here, it's Hags, heavy, large, ER Mead. So Summoner's ERPPC, and that's very telling because there are a number of good builds for the Summoner, and ERPPC tells me that they're just looking to trade.
Yep. All right. So we're Darkseid Corsairs taking this Echo 4 high point here.
Yeah, it's gonna be north-south split.
Doing very well. Yeah, I think yeah, the Hag is an interesting choice. I would like to see how that Direwolf plays. Zeos on team 2, just firming up Theta here. Kappa, it is going to be 3 on the side of team 2, which is not what you want to see on the side of team 1, but they have split it north-south, so there is a chance here. Darkseid Corsairs really pressuring the traders of Aens on the north side of the map, but some of them getting out. I think that Direwolf might be in some trouble if this rotation keeps up. Let's see here. In the center, we're holding the opposite side of the map here. The Delta 4 corners as well. Delta 4, Echo 4. I think I've got those swapped at this point. I wish I had a grid. But here comes Aens. They are pushing up. They're not waiting. They're not waiting for the trade. They're seeing the trade. They're going to take that away. Here comes a pseudo light pack, including the Crusader, the Huntsman, a little slow for a wolf pack, but certainly able to provide that overwatch. And here we go. Here's our fight. Ivazovsky just taking it in that XE from 3 mechs.
They're not getting out. They're going in, actually, which is interesting. I don't know if their team's in position to punish. There's a dive here from the Mistlings trying to get back shots.
Yep. Scout Derek taking some hits in that Shadowcat, rotating out Salith in that Incubus, just taking a couple of back shots as well.
Yeah, Executioner can't tank anymore. The rest of the team needs to come in here and,
and they are.
Make something happen here.
It is
open side torso in that Incubus.
Yeah, and here's how you deal with those death zones, folks. We see the Darkseid Corsairs kind of in it with Ivazovsky and who's taking some shots in there from Rickron on the top. You want to hold both the top and maneuver around. Now, Salith in the Incubus looks like he's tucked in a corner and left to his own devices, but ready to go. Ivazovsky 32% in the Executioner. The Crusader Indian hopping up, taking some of that high ground. This is our high ground to high ground and low ground to low ground fights going on here. Texas Scrub Lord taking some shots. Lizzo in the Executioner doing some lovely pop tarting. How we doing here? Zelk and the Summoner down to 74%. This is in favor of Aens right now.
Salith put in a lot of work there on the Mad Cat. Mad Cat is now open center torso from Hollow.
Is that in the back or the front?
That is the first casualty go down.
Ivazovsky going down as well. So there's an inequality in the tonnage trade. Looking at these, Aens still having the percentage, at least percentage advantage here. Fire Ant trying to hold the top with the Mistlings, counteracting Bowser here, who's at 62%. Not really open, but a little beat up everywhere. Let's see. Ooh, Fire Ant just taking it to the face. Trying to stay close, but Lizzie and Bowser are just able to take them down. Now with Zelk, Lizzie and Bowser versus Zelk. We've got House and Royal versus Scout Derek, who manages to escape, and Texas Scrub Lords, Scout
Derek is out of weapons.
Ah, okay. Well, there goes Hollow.
They are down to capping now.
Yep, Zeo's getting pinched here. Yep, Epic Corner and the rival coming in. We are still, well, it's in favor of Aens here, but the percentage is looking much more closer at this point. Texan Scrub Lord,
open center torso and side torso. That's going to be an XL build.
Yep.
Intersphere extra light engine.
Yep. Darkseid Corsairs managing to consolidate, but now the trade weapons.
They're in a terrible position. Darkseid Corsairs. This is not a good spot of the map to be fighting in, and they are low percentages.
Yeah.
Direwolf is still fresh in the background there. I don't know if he's been getting shots in, but this fight does not look. The caps are also. It's a 4 cap right now with that Shadow Cat off getting a cap.
There goes Indian Epic Poner just trying to take Lizzie out. It's going to be real close. One touch. There we go. Epic Poner able to take that out. Royal Star going down to Bowser.
Yeah, Bowser's open side torso
and put her
does go
down.
down over heat damage there, I believe, but that is the end. So how did that direwolf do? How is it? How cooked is it?
We'll find out. I don't. Where is direwolf here? Let me. Oh, I didn't get there in time.
I don't see internal damage on it.
It probably spending a lot. I didn't see much hag fire coming from it though.
Yeah. So I imagine it was having difficulty keeping up with the fight.
That I think is the issue. It was more or less out of the fight for a lot of it until it started to rotate down. I imagine some damage came in. Let's see here. Direwolf, 400 damage for what I suspect being out of the fight for a bit. That's not bad. Probably could have pulled 5 or 6 if they stayed in an area.
So maybe the heat is manageable on that.
Let's see here. Yeah, I'll have to play around with that because that is very interesting.
Yep. Top damage though coming out of Rick Rom in Hunchback 2CA. That was 2 ER large and 6 ER meat, I believe it was, putting out 730 damage as the jump jets to get those high ground flank positions and get some farm in. Bowser 500 in the Crusader, Lizzie 500 in the Executioner, so right up there as well. Direwolf at 400. I mean, definitely a very powerful chassis. I'm not sure about the build. I will need to try that myself. Royal Star for Darkseid Corsairs putting out 500 damage in the Firestarter. Very respectable for that chassis, but ultimately the team kind of falls short. Damage spread, relatively decent for the most part. The Executioner was kind of sacrificed for their armor, and I don't think enough return was gotten there for what they gave up. But
I think the Xe that flank I think caught them by surprise. I don't think they were ready for it.
The mechs are low on Aens. They did come out with a win. They're up 4-0 in this match, which see if Darkseid Corsairs can pull it back or not. But the fights are close. The percentages are low. These are not stomps, but it is going. It is falling in favor of Aens so far.
And this is a lot of comp if you are paired correctly, which happens more often than not. You're not going to see a lot of stomp. These are the results of small mistakes adding up. In this case, on the side of Darkseid Corsairs, but we saw Aens make mistakes last week with that KDCM push. It is just the smallest mistakes that will make a difference in these matches, especially when they're so close. It's great to see. And looking at this, we are on the Crimson map already. There's not really much to say about it. There was that little north-south rotation and just some trading across until it didn't work out. And a fight in a dead zone where there was actually a fight over the top as well, which is how you want to do that. That's the last thing I'll say about mining, is we saw the fight over the top on that Echo 4 side. And you need someone out there. Otherwise, the other team is just going to sit up top and just rain down fire. So well done on Darkseid Corsairs. Just now. All right, Crimson.
Yeah, so we're on to Crimson as our final map for the day here. I think we're seeing Aens has a Team 2 side in the red there, so I think it's just going to be a push to the island. There are other options that they could try out that may or may not work for them. I'm curious, but the island is a key point here, and I think that they're going to play aggressive. They are a team that is capable of playing aggressive. They don't have to. I don't think they're going to sit back. That'd be my guess. Now, they did show the direwolf in the previous drop, though, on Mining Collective. Maybe they will be using this extreme range high ground trade position behind Kappa. But I'm thinking
I don't see it.
Either push to the island or push across the island. It's you take the island, and whether or not they have a dedicated push after that, I'm not sure, but I think it's going to be an island push, or perhaps even behind the island.
I don't think we see a short range push. I think we see a weapons push from Aens. Just their highly mobile style. I think they are going to sort of, I guess, quote unquote, push for the island. Try to take it over, assess the situation. If they need to push someone, they're going. They're not going to stay there. They're not going to be static. They're going to force DSC to play on their terms, which is what Aens is very, very good at. And then Darkseid Corsairs, I don't see the push happening. I don't see where their counter is. We might find a nice little island fight with long range weapons at like 200 meters. That would be hilarious to me.
I suspect that Darksea Corsairs might play toward Epsilon Cap a little bit.
Yeah.
Play more of a passive receive as opposed to pushing the island, just kind of giving maybe some respect to Aben's play styles and try to play the more of a 3-cap situation with going for the Theta Cap.
Yeah, I think that's the thing to do, quite frankly.
As opposed to
yeah, as opposed to just that hard counter and playing in line with Aben's traders there.
Yeah, that's what I think might be more what they're looking for. Or they could try something different. I mean, what they've been doing has been close, but not actually working. So maybe they just throw everything in the kitchen sink here and just, grab it and go push the island. Big push. I could see them doing a behind the island push. That's something I'm going to pull out here and just indicate that I don't think it'd go unscouted. I don't think that they think it would go unscouted. Like, Aben's is going to scout behind the island, but perhaps they just push behind the island anyways. Put the fight out in the water and don't give the opportunity for Aben's to take the island.
Yeah, I
just take the fight to them behind the island, cut them off, prevent them from getting, out of the area at all.
Yeah, they've been pretty trady lately. I think that would behoove them to just get in there and try to scrap it up, do that push. Especially with this, if they can sneak around behind the island, I think you're right. That is probably where their best chance is on this one. But that island is going to be key for both teams. But yeah, I think your assessment on this one is I don't really see a flaw in the logic. There's plenty of things that can happen, but I think based on what we've seen, DSC holds, tries to go for that 3-cap and pressure the island with some traders, but Aben's, I think, gonna trade until they feel like they can push, and then they're gonna do that brutally, like we've seen them every single match here.
And yeah, it's been close. The matches have been close. It's not like Darksea Corsairs doesn't have a reason to believe that they can pull it out if they keep doing what they're doing. They've done it 4 times in a row, and 3 of those times have been very, very close. It's I even called one going the other way, and then fell a couple next chain deaths, and goes back for Aben's. But these have been very, very close. It doesn't mean that they have to change up what they're doing, but at the same time, they are currently in that 0-4 position. Maybe they want to try and just roll the dice, do something different.
Yeah, and speaking of that 0-4 position, if they do manage to take a match off of Aben's, that
would put Equilibrium in the top position.
Yeah, Equilibrium still in the top position. That top spot is dependent on this match at the moment. If Aben's manages a sweep here, it's now tied for that top position here.
So they're both playing for something here.
Yep,
definitely. Even beyond pride, they're playing for the points.
Yeah, and that is super important on this one. Oh, you know what? I don't think we've actually talked about the tournament format, in case anyone's wondering how these matches matter. These are the top 4 teams, which has been pulled out of queue for your convenience. Hang on, the 2-minute warning. Nope, they are locked. So pulled out of queue for your convenience, but the part of them being in queue previously was so that they could get the seeding that they wanted, because it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So this is a round robin tournament, 3 weeks. We're a third of the way through, and the person with the most points, 1 win equals 1 points, and it goes in that order. So if
seeding is going to determine their opponents. So whoever has the top seed coming out of the Invitationals is going to be facing the bottom team coming out of the comp queue. So it's to get those preferential matchups, you want to be at the top of your Invitational seeding here in the standings.
Go ahead and launch us while we chat about this. We can load up into the final one. But yeah, and looking at the teams that are in the top 8 right now, because we're pulling top 8 on October the 1st into the top 12 tournament for which this seeding is. The teams are strong. Playing the bottom ranked team, I think, might be a little bit of a mismatch, but not like it has been in previous years. This is going to be, I think, depending on how the ELO shakes out, a year for hang on, I'm drifting off into the distance here. There we go. It is going to be a year to watch because of the teams that are sitting in top 8 right now and vying for those spots. I mean, even the top 10, top 12, honestly, the top 15, as I'm thinking about it, the teams are very, very good this year. There's a very good distribution of pilots. So this is going to be an interesting tournament to watch all around.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Definitely. You know, we're going to have one more week of the seeding, then there's 1 week off, and then we come back with the top 12 with the double elimination bracket. So
yeah,
should be some good matches coming up.
Hollow with that Marauder, Sniper Royal Star with our PPC Firestar. I do like that that particular build. Here we've got a Hagen ER Large Laser, Madcat 1 Crusader with ER PPCs. Anything else of particular note? A Spider 5K. There's that cap strat we were talking about. Spider 5K with a large X pulse. Ooh, okay. And I think that has a pretty hefty cooldown too. So that X pulse is going nuts. And Merche
that
and
might be continuous fire.
Oh yeah.
That is the first X pulse laser we have seen today, the first of that new weapon series. The binaries are banned, so that's why we're not seeing them, but we have seen a fair bit of Hypersol Gauss. So talking about the builds here for Aens, they have a lot of ER large mechs here. Stalker 5S with a 6 ER large, Blood Asp has 4 ER large, and a standard Gauss, regular Gauss, not the Hag. We have a play for Theta being felt out here. Both teams kind of looking at that.
Yep, and there's that distribution that we predicted for Darksea Corsairs. However, Aben's not really bothering with the island. They have it uncontested. Nope. I don't know who's out there. I'm trying to monitor for this light fight. I might go take a peek.
It's probably going to be probably the Madcap, my guess. I'm going to go check that. I'll get that information for you.
Cool. We've got Red Baron making a move. Oh, okay. Red Baron making a move for the cap. However, Aben's lights and some Overwatch here with the Firestarter and the Shadowcat just really getting the scout out of there, pulling him back from the cap, even though it probably just take him a couple seconds to snag that. I don't think he wants him to know that he's over there. But here we go, making a move for that cap. Going to make it a 3 cap in favor of Dark Corsairs for as long as this fight happens.
Darksea Corsairs has the numbers here, so this is not a fight that Aens wants to take. This is currently a 6v4 if this was to develop into a full-fledged fight.
Yep. Zeo's taking some burns. Looks like Theta is going to be held. They've got some cap guards. Otherwise, everyone is committed to Theta for Darksea Corsairs. Aben's pulled in their Island Hellfire and is moving up to the saddle. I think they're trying to scout out what's going on Epsi, but otherwise they're moving to support this push. Zeo's making a play for Theta, but being a little denied by this Spider. Yeah, look at the fire on this X pulse. Boom, 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 boom. That's a really nice cadence for a large laser.
Yeah, looks like both teams are going to commit to this Theta fight. There's only 2 mechs remaining back at Gamma, and the rest of the Aens has moved up to the saddle. They will be looking to cross, perhaps. That is a Blood Asp bringing in Gauss and 4 ER large.
And I think here's our move going to be towards House and the Shadowcat. It's going to be a 4v2.
This is a dive. Oh, that is a dive down the center.
Yeah, except the thing is there's only 4 Darksea Corsairs mechs left. Someone went tunnel.
Somebody pulled out.
Yep, which is going to allow Zeo's taking some good hits here in the Viper. A headshot is where that's open, otherwise a little weak on the left side. Yep, Indian going down.
Zeos is also lost an arm, still has both its legs. I don't know where the focus fire is there.
Yeah, cooking himself a little bit with those flamers. Easy to do. Meanwhile, Scott Derek Bowser chasing down Epic Poner, who's getting Merc J left. Kalith going down, but Red Baron also going down. Zeus is 38% in that Viper. Poner, no, they needed you. Intense fight here over the side.
The Shadowcat.
Yeah.
Corsairs.
Aben's Overwatch is cross the shadow. House shouldn't have stuck around there. Royal Star is in a bad way.
To get out. That's their last light mech.
Yep. That's going to be important. The caps continue to tick away in favor of Darksea Corsairs, but just not fast enough. A good hit on a Texan Scrublord. Let's see what we got here. That's an open left, so Texan Scrublord actually kind of ready to go.
It's
Royal Star could.
Though,
Royal Star could do this, quite frankly. It's going to be tough, but it's doable.
The Overwatch range of fire. There's a chance. They are leg now, though, and that's too much. That's too valuable of a mech to lose.
Yeah, and there goes Royal Star.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on over here. Tunnel entrance. I have Azovsky going down here to Bowser with the Void. Ooh, I'm hearing some bullhorn going on. That's fun. And last one over there on, what is that, Epsi? Halfway between Epsi. That's Hollow in the Marauder.
Yeah, Goss ERPPC, completely fresh. Yeah. I don't know if they put damage out or not. I wasn't watching the trades.
I mean, we could take a look at that. They've been trading with 2 here. Mech Numbers in the Bloodass was been taking some hits. Has an open side torso that's about ready to go. So putting out a little bit of damage, but not quite enough. Yeah. I don't think.
It wasn't at where the relevant part of the fight was.
Yep.
That's the biggest issue.
Yes, and there was another mech out here trading with those 2 on the saddle as well, keeping them busy. But Texan Scrub Lord and Scout Derek just going to pick Hollow apart here at this point.
Yeah. DPS is not there for that Marauder. Yeah. Lost a side torso with all the weapons already, so it's down to just a single Goss in the arm.
Yep. I don't think enough to really take anybody out. Maybe Texan if he can clip that torso enough times, but that's a tough shot.
Yeah.
That is indeed a tough shot. Ooh, wow, lots of chat going on. Interesting. I haven't really been keeping up on it. Sorry, guys. There's just been so much happening. We've been moving pretty quickly. Hollow's still alive here.
They're just farming him.
They're just Aens doing Aens things. Yep.
Yeah.
So extending the match past
going for the headshot? I'm not even sure.
No, I don't even think so. No, they are just farming damage here.
Well,
this is a thing that we're watching here.
They are now stacking some mechs here.
Oh boy, here we go. Aens doing Aens. They're known for trolling and shenanigans. And we see that. It kind of sucks to be on the other end of it, not gonna lie, but you know, Hollow making a nuisance of himself. Rick Rom coming in saying enough. That's what they were doing. They were holding him for Rick Rom to get a kill for his trading duties there, being at 96%. I'll be interested to see what the damage is there, but well played by both teams. That is going to be a sweep from Aens, leaving us with a tie for first place next week for the seeding round. So that will be, stay tuned for next week.
Yeah, head to head for that first place spot. I mean, that is a big matchup now. Determines top seed.
And then the other match is going to be DSC versus KDCM. KDCM putting in a little, being able to hold on a little more than Dark Seas Corsairs. However, styles are very different here, so we'll see how that turns out. Let's see. I'm going to shift over to the scoreboard real quick, so we can talk about stuff. But in general, we're looking at Hollow, actually, yeah, in that Marauder putting out 450 damage, more than the rest of his team. Otherwise, a pretty decent spread all around. That Spider putting out 100 damage, which for the role that it was doing is not bad. That might be an interesting build to play around with, particularly for a capper. The snub used to be my favorite because it was basically the same cadence, which was brutal in a light fight. But looking at yeah, just honestly a good spread around Aens as well. Well played.
I'm just trying to see if the tournament is not updated here yet, but so we know the outcome. KDCM has 2 wins total.
Yep.
As they pulled off one the previous week against Aens, and they pulled off one today earlier against Equilibrium. Sorry about the spoilers for anyone who. But maybe I should have given a warning there. Whereas Darksea Corsairs is sitting at 0 points, as they were 5-0'd by Equilibrium last week, and they were 5-0'd here just now by Aens. So they need to come out with a decisive win against KDCM next week in order to move out of the 4th seed position. And as previously mentioned, the big match there, the head-to-head of 2 teams that are tied between Equilibrium and Aens to determine the top seed going forward. So pretty excited for that. So everyone, mark that down on your calendars.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back. It should be the same time, pretty sure. It'll be 3:30 Eastern. I think that's 7:30 UTC for those of you with time. But Yeah, thank you everyone for stopping by. We'll be back with more next week. Stay tuned. Thank you, Therox, for the co-cast. Glad your rig is functioning well. Week. Yeah. So works out. This will be the end of the stream here. So take it easy, everybody, and we will see you when we come back.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Let's play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. And when anybody's running short, is going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come out.
I have you in the Griff. Griffin.
Sounds good. Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill the out, man, it's fine, it's just a 5-star.
Warum Leute reden miteinander?
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly, that's fine, guys, we're winning kills, guys. 3, 2, 1.
Charlie Dar, CT, yellow. Okay, go to Charlie, see if we can get it.
There, to your left, there's there. Sorry, shit. So, jetzt guys, hinter die Indie-Pocken.
Mediums be prepared to pull back E40 towards the E5 border. On my mark.
Left side, come on! Like now, I need strikes on the barrel. Wire our strikes up. Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have 3 mechs sitting on the left side when you pass over.
Overheating is bad.
Both legs on the Griffin. Get the Griffin. Woo! Sorry about that. That was such a
That's alright. I'm gonna spawn Lance, you guys in Charlie, Lance, you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
Jetzt in die Breite, zieht euch in die Breite.
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6. Kurze Aufschaltung, Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Mediums, ein Light, wenn ich das richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line.
C4 Tactical Hill, boys.
Fox.
Laufen unter ECM, hab 2 durchlaufen, 10 Bravo 4.
And get ready to hit people coming from our right.
Charlie on the left, Charlie Hellbringer on the left.
Okay, let's group up towards the left. We're gonna press through Bravo 3 to Bravo 4. I think they're kind of spread out.
Check yourselves, make sure you've got, UAV cool shot.
Hey, here they come, they're pushing hard, guys.
Decro. Tez on.
Go. Oh, got a contact here, Bravo 3.
Nice, Marshall. I'm on Delta Griffin.
Well, you cross it then, get in their face. They got a Highlander, they just push up on Theta. We need help on Theta. Up on Theta.
Yep, that's the noise. Go. Let's finish this.
Full pressure, guys. Full pressure. They're down low. They're down low in Charlie 3.
Get the f***ing arm, Jackson.
Jackson, cool shot.
Golf.
I got him.
Go, Vitric, go.
Echo, go.
Get over on their medium, guys. Get Echo Stormcrow.